does, and good morning, everybody. It is Thursday, the 29th of January. Welcome to Breakfast with Roger and Friends. And that includes Terry Chamberlain. Good morning to you, Terry.
Good morning.
And Mike Dentino. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, Roger.
You know, we were talking before we went on the air about the temperatures and the cold and et cetera and so forth. And the people who have left Peoria for sunny and warm Florida are
the joke's on them.
Yeah. and it is. I understand you were saying. I think yesterday when we talked to Ray LaHood, and we'll talk again with Ray this morning, but that the temperature was in the 40s. And you said by the end of this week, they think it'll be in the 30s in Florida?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, you're not going to have to go to the store to get your frozen concentrated orange juice. Reach out and pluck it right off the tree.
Yeah, and you've got a frozen daiquiri. And you were talking about what's falling out of the trees in Florida?
The iguanas. It's their...
They're warm.
They're a lizard, and so they're, of course, a reptile. So when it gets cold, they just kind of go into a stupor. Yeah, I want to say dormant, but a stupor. And so they'll be up in the trees, and they can't hang on, so they'll just fall out of the trees.
Yeah, what happened? Nothing like falling out of bed.
Yeah, well, it could be a lot farther than just from the top of the sheets to the carpet. No, thank you.
I'll give you another example of how people, what the cold weather is doing. I have a grandson. He is a nurse, and he works for an aeronautics firm in Greenville, which is a suburb, I believe, of Dallas. I don't know how familiar you are with the Dallas area. And he said these people just cannot cope with cold weather. And like yesterday, it was 48 degrees, and schools were closed. And they've been closed all this week, he said.
I'm going to pull out my old guy card here. At 40, we were going to, walking to St. Mark's to school in our shorts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Uphill, both ways.
Right.
Yeah. You're right. And there's some people, it's like they're bragging to you, their circulation is so. I have seen men, and I'm going to assume they were coaches or teachers at the local high school, in Walmart with the temperature in the 20s.
Oh, yeah.
I say, and it's kind of like, look at me, everybody. And, of course, everybody did, thought, what's that guy doing walking around in a pair of shorts when it's 20 degrees outside?
Right. Oh, it's when I used to go out to California during Christmas time when I was in college. I'd go out and work for my uncle, and we'd sell Christmas trees. Mm-hmm. Well, I remember the very first time I went there, I flew into L.A. at night, and it was like December 3rd or 4th, whenever the winter break started for us. And I get up, I get dressed, and I'm wearing a pair of shorts. I've got a sweatshirt on because it is a little chilly. It's probably 47, 48. And I walk down to the bottom of the farm where, we all start the work day, and my cousins are all standing around the burn barrel, him and his friends. They got the burn barrel going. They've got their shearling sheepskin goats, and they're rubbing their hands and looking for their breath. And like, oh, my, this is terrible. I'm going to need some hot cocoa. It's like, what sort of pansies are you? And they're looking at me like, you're a wild man. You're crazy. You must be you're like the abominable snowman. And I'm like, oh, girl. It was like I got on the plane in Chicago and it was 20 below zero with the wind chill, and you guys are sitting here sniffling and sniveling, and I need something hot to drink. But
I get the picture.
And then I bumped. Years ago I bumped into some like crazy Canadians down at Daytona for spring break. And they're all cavorting in the waves with their Speedos on, and I'm like, you guys are out of your minds.
And they are.
Yeah, well.
You just wonder what's going on. Anyway, it's going to be another cold one, Mr. Grinch, and we'll give you the weather details coming up very, very shortly. And thanks for joining us. And we start with a look at the weather brought to you by Morton Community Banks. Mostly cloudy and cold today, a high of 17. Wind chill values could reach 2 below. Tonight, partly cloudy, a low 1 above. Tomorrow, mostly sunny. I like that sound. But cold, a high of 16. Tomorrow night, cloudy and cold, a low around 5 degrees. Saturday will be sunny. We're up to 21, and Sunday 26, and there's a chance for snow Sunday night. Oh, didn't like that. Monday, sunny and 33. Current air temperature at 9 degrees. Now let's get into the news with Mike and Terry.
Thank you, Roger. Well, there was a shooting early yesterday morning in the 3400 block of Harmon Highway, and it's left one man dead and a woman hospitalized with a bullet wound to the leg. Peoria County Coroner identified the fatal victim as 44-year-old DeVille Wilder. Peoria County deputies were called to a house around 3 in the morning where they found Wilder critically wounded from multiple gunshot wounds. He was rushed to St. Francis Hospital where he was pronounced dead. Peoria County Sheriff Chris Watkins will join us today at 7:30 this morning.
31-year-old Carl Rogers has been found guilty of the charge of aggravated battery in connection with the beating of a 5-year-old boy in April of 2024. The youngster suffered a traumatic brain injury, but did recover and even testified at the bench trial of Rogers, who will be sentenced by Judge Sean Donahue April 8th.
A new video has been released showing a violent and angry Alex Preddy attacking ICE agents in Minneapolis, contradicting earlier accounts by national media. Preddy, who was shot and killed while resisting agents in a physical confrontation. Prior to the scuffle, the heavily armed Preddy can be seen spitting at agents and then kicking and damaging the government vehicle. Investigations are underway.
Meanwhile, another judge has issued a restraining order against ICE agents in Minnesota. Federal Judge Patrick Schultz slammed agents, claiming they had violated 96 of the court's orders. Schultz refers to lawsuits filed by 74 illegal immigrants who flooded Minnesota courtrooms in an attempt to avoid being sent back to their mother countries. No word on who's paying for their lawyers.
That deadly substance sprayed on leftist Congresswoman Ilhan Omar turned out to be apple cider vinegar.
That actually is a healthy drink. I'm sorry she didn't lick it up.
Take 2 of them every day. Yes,
Yeah.
I do. Police arrested the 55-year-old man who squirted Omar as she was calling for the resignation of the 54-year-old Kristi Noem as Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. Omar says if she doesn't resign, she'll be impeached. You'll recall that the Democrats also called for the impeachment of Pete Hegseth before that, of course, Donald Trump.
The Department of Homeland Security says it has deported nearly 3 million illegal aliens since Donald Trump took office. Under the Biden administration, more than 11 million entered the country illegally.
President Trump's plan to create the Trump accounts, providing $1,000 for every U.S. citizen born between January 1st, 2025 and December 31st, 2028, is receiving a lot of support. Steak and Shake has pledged $1,000 for each child, and so has Bank of America. Musician Nicki Minaj pledged between $150,000 and $300,000. Some analysts say newborns enrolled by parents could be worth $2.7 million by age 55.
Wow.
Wouldn't that be something?
course,
Where was this idea when I was born?
Yeah, well, but 2.7 millions at 55 will probably get you a spot in line at Starbucks for a almond mocha frappuccino, whatever.
Which will cost $119.95.
Yeah, without tip.
Yeah, that's right. And that's a look at some of our news this morning. And now more news from WCBU.
From the WCBU Newsroom, I'm Courtney Conroy. Plans to transform a vacant property on Peoria's south side into a mental health services and workforce programming facility for parolees will move forward. Grow Community will turn the empty building on Southwest Adams Street into a 12-bedroom transitional residence for formerly incarcerated men. CEO Aaron Mallory stresses the term halfway house does not accurately describe how the facility will operate.
When we think about a halfway house, that's individuals being released from prison and being directly sent to a location or a space. This is an opportunity, one, for individuals to get treatment, to get support, and to build workforce development skills.
The council narrowly approved the project on a 6-5 vote. Peoria's mayor and police chief say local law enforcement officers are prohibited by state law from assisting federal immigration enforcement. Police Chief Eric Echevarria says the department pledges to not allow violence in the wake of the recent deadly turmoil in Minneapolis.
The current state of ICE is a danger to communities. So I'll say that publicly. You know, the impact of unchecked power is just devastating.
Mayor Rita Ali also affirmed the city's obligation to abide by the state's Trust Act that prohibits local police from conducting immigration enforcement. Central Illinois lawmakers say they are looking to help farmers as they face financial troubles because of tariffs, inflations, and increased competition from South America. Democratic State Senator Dave Kaler says he plans to push a bill to raise the exemption on the estate tax to support family farms.
I don't know what that means for any of our programs, but because we're going to have to cut somewhere. But this is an important one if we want to preserve the character of family farms in Illinois.
Kaler says there are still concerns about passing the bill because of a tight budget this year. And the Illinois-based American Academy of Pediatrics has released its annual childhood and adolescent vaccine schedule. It's a departure from federal guidelines, which saw cuts to the number of recommended vaccines for kids earlier this month. The vaccines in dispute include those for rotavirus, COVID-19, influenza, and hepatitis. I'm Courtney Conroy.
Well, it's time for sports, everybody, and our sports report this morning highlights the coming game between Bradley University and the Drake Bulldogs in Des Moines. It'll be this Saturday, tip-off time, 5 p.m. Bradley, with a record of 14-8, is tied with the University of Illinois Chicago for third place behind league leaders Belmont and Murray State. Drake is 6-5 in the Valley and in 7th place, but when these two teams play, records mean little. You can get the latest on Bradley basketball news at bradleyfans.com. In college basketball action last night, Iowa defeated the University of Southern Cal in a barn burner, 73-72. They had a great game in the Valley at Valpo, but Belmont, leading the league, slipped past Valpo 78-77. Illinois State defeated another team that's, I think, tied with, or at least they were, Belmont for first place in the Valley. Anyway, ISU defeated Murray State 70-65. Go Redbirds. We like that sound. And Drake, who we were talking about, will host our Bradley Braves. They beat Evansville in another close game, 82-78. And another Valley action, Southern Illinois not having a great year, but they hammered Northern Iowa. That was a big surprise, 65-50. And in the Big Ten, it was Wisconsin 67, Minnesota 63. And another game perhaps of local interest. If you follow college basketball, it was Tennessee nipping Georgia 86-85. And that's what we have in the world of sports this morning. And our guest this morning in person, Peoria County Sheriff Chris Watkins will join us. And by phone, we'll talk to Congressman Ray LaHood. Mm-hmm. They have some little, and it's not so little, they've got to pass the spending bill for 2026.
Yep.
And Chuck E. Cheese, Schumer, is saying he wants the majority leader, John Thune, to separate funding from the regular bills for Homeland Security because they want to cripple that agency.
Right.
Because they didn't agree with what they've been doing up in Minnesota. We'll talk a little bit about that with Ray LaHood coming up in about 15 minutes. And Peoria County Sheriff Chris Watkins will join us as well on a couple of subjects, and he will be live in the studio with us. I'm kind of surprised, and on the one hand, on the other, I'm not, but Peoria Police Chief Eric Echevarria has weighed in, with his opinion, and that's
Yeah.
all it is, ladies and gentlemen, and his opinion doesn't mean any more than yours, Terry, or yours, Mike, or mine, with criticism of Homeland Security. And I hate to see this because that injects controversy into our community.
Yeah.
And we don't need it. If we can avoid it, let's avoid it. But since he brought it up, I think he should have kept quiet.
Yeah, well, I always fall back on my pithy little assessment of such situations, which is opinions are like your rear end.
Uh-oh.
Everyone has one. Most of them stink.
Not unless they get sprayed with apple cider.
Not unless
Then
that,
you know
yes,
what?
and that's
Hey,
very-
does that stink? Because everybody was saying, "Oh, the odor was terrible, like it was something terrible." Apple cider doesn't stink that much, does
The
it?
vinegar has a tangy.
Yeah, I will say it's a matter of opinion.
Okay.
My wife dislikes it very much. But, one of the greatest cleaning products out there, in fact, probably the greatest natural cleaning product out there is vinegar.
Well,
I
that's
use it
true.
all the time. It's
I didn't know it.
antiseptic.
I know it. Don't you put it on salads?
Well, that too.
That too.
Okay.
Yeah,
but
but-
it does clean. Just plain white vinegar
Yeah.
is a cleaning
It's
agent.
it's a great cleaning agent. I
Didn't
use
know
it.
that.
I use it all the time. Add a little water to it, and it's a great window cleaner.
Well, I have heard that.
There are lots of ways to use vinegar in very handy dandy ways, and it's a lot less toxic than say products like Windex or other
Interesting.
cleaners like that. But it's I like the smell of vinegar myself.
I do
but then
too.
again, I'm a rather sour personality to begin with.
All right, I'll take that as a plus for that matter. What are the health benefits? I've seen all kinds of ads for decades on television, heard it on radio,
Right.
and seen it in magazines. And I've been tempted. As a matter of fact, I think once I bought a bottle of apple cider vinegar, and I think I used 2 pills and then threw it away. But what are the health benefits of apple cider vinegar?
That can help your digestion, for one thing.
Let me take a look out. I
You
hate
get the
yeah, I
the
hate
flower.
the search engine I'm using right now.
So
Get the
for the
official-
gastroenterology field of medicine, we'll say, hey, this is good for you.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Okay, let's see what this says. Well, it has helps lower blood sugar, aids weight loss, improves heart health. Those are just among the benefits
Well,
of
those
some
are
of them.
pretty impressive. When did you start taking them? And have you seen a difference in your weight loss program?
Well, I thought I saw some weight loss, but then I turned around and I found it again.
Yeah.
But
I don't have to turn around.
Yeah.
I just look down and say, here we are. You also, in addition to taking apple cider vinegar, you counterbalance that with a donut or two.
well,
Don't you?
there's no sense getting crazy about it. But yeah, it's supposed to be beneficial to control blood sugar, helps reduce your blood pressure. It can help bring down cholesterol. It helps
Ooh, that's good
regulate
to take,
your body acidity, your body pH.
They've been pushing apple cider vinegar for years and years, haven't they,
Yeah.
as a health
Yeah.
benefit?
But I tell you what, you have to take some of this stuff with a grain of salt because, there are so many products out there,
Or a
some
grain
of
of
which are
vinegar.
natural, some of which are, the result of 10 years of laboratory experiments
yeah.
in Poughkeepsie University.
Yeah.
But this is almost like snake oil when you get down to the list, and this is off of medicine.net. And it's, let's see, supposed to prevent cancer. It treats dandruff. It smooths the affected area, or soothes the affected area for acne. Calms insect bites. I do know that.
It does,
You can put a
really?
little dab of apple cider vinegar on like a mosquito bite,
And it stops
and
the itching?
it'll stop. It'll help stop the itching.
No kidding. My, I better
treats.
get a bottle of
Yeah.
that.
I
You
mean-
take it in pill form, though.
Yeah, I take
You
it-
don't use it like a martini glass.
No. I mean, if I'm going to use it in a martini glass,
You're
I'm
going to
have
mix it
gin
with
in
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how good gin and apple cider vinegar are actually going to
But
go
you're willing to
together.
try it.
But I'll give anything a try. But yeah, and for me, the most important benefit of apple cider vinegar is that it helps increase my hair shine.
Yes, it does. I
Yeah.
noticed that.
I mean, my hair is so shiny you almost can't see it.
I'm not sure shiny is applicable in this case, but
Okay, you know.
so what motivated you in the very beginning, Senator, to start taking this?
Well,
Was it an ad you saw on television
It
or
might-
in a magazine?
it might have been the attraction of taking a larger handful of pills every morning when I get up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like giving myself some of these natural substances because apple cider vinegar is primarily acetic acid and citric acid. You know, two natural compounds.
All right.
They contain things like vitamins B1, B2, B6, folic acid, calcium, potassium, vitamin C. And this isn't a, manufactured in a laboratory. It's the product of crushing apples and
And then
fermenting.
fermenting
Yeah.
them, yeah.
So, I mean, it's a natural product. So, if I can get all these vitamins and supplements from just crushed apples that have been left to sit around, I mean, I leave all sorts of stuff sitting around.
Yeah.
I have
And
lots
it
of-
has no value, but
That's
this
right.
does.
That's right. But it's not coming out of a laboratory. It's a nice natural product that if you're a little shy on some of these substances, I mean, I don't probably eat enough oranges, but it helps bring some of these materials into your body that you might otherwise be lacking.
Sure. I have a different take on this. Obviously, the most important part of apple cider vinegar is the apples. I
Yeah.
prefer to get my apples through an apple pie. You take it if you want to as cider. I'm going to stick with, and to make it even more palatable, a big scoop of vanilla ice cream on top of that piece of apple pie.
The actual value of the vanilla ice cream is to help it slide down
Yes,
the
well, I-
esophagus
that's-
a
yeah,
little more
yeah,
safely
yeah.
and a little more pleasantly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I got to join you in that. I'm not so sure I'd try a dollop of apple cider vinegar on my ice cream.
No,
It might
I wouldn't
curdle
do
it.
that,
It might
yeah,
curdle it
I
a little
wouldn't.
bit, yeah.
Now, did you say you take it in pill form, or?
Yeah,
Okay,
I
yeah.
take it.
So what, two a day?
I take one in the morning and one at
One a
night.
day.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Has you, and I don't know whether you can or not answer this question, but have you seen a difference in taking this versus not taking it?
Well, I mean, yeah.
Have there been times you got on vacation and said to your wife, oops, I forgot my apple cider vinegar tablets?
Well, the fortunate thing about that is you can buy them just about anywhere on
Yeah,
earth.
well, that's true,
So,
yeah.
that's not really much of a concern for me. But yeah, I do think that I feel some benefits of it. I mean, I take a number of things. Turmeric I also take. That seems
Now,
to help.
what is that for? I see those ads all the time.
Inflammation,
Inflammation, yeah, joint
joint
inflammation.
inflammation.
And you've seen a difference since you started
Yeah.
taking?
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, I would was talking to my doctor about, is it just the fact that I'm getting old, or is
Yes.
is joint pain just kind of a normal facet of aging? And
Yes.
I told him that, yeah, I know I expect to wake up in the morning and sound like the Tin Man from the Wizard of Oz. I said, no, he told me, try turmeric, and I
Did he tell
Yeah,
you that,
yeah.
really?
and I
And when do you
think
do that? One a day, two a day? Yeah.
one in the morning, one at night, same
Okay.
thing.
Well, that's easy to remember.
But yeah, I mean, some of these supplements that you take, I'm not real keen on multivitamins, partly because, you look at what's in a multivitamin and it looks like a lab experiment.
It is.
And I have no idea, okay, where is my folic acid coming from? Where is my vitamin B12 coming from?
Where's my guar gum from?
Yeah, I mean, is it xanthan gum? Is it something out of a chemical test tube? If I can get some of these supplements just by taking a natural substance like apple cider vinegar, I'm happier doing that than I am with my one-a-day vitamin.
You do wonder when you look at the ingredients of a vitamin, they say a multivitamin, and you see everything, and you wonder, how do they get all of that in this capsule?
One little pill, yeah.
So it must be a pinch of this and a pinch of that, and that
Probably.
qualifies as an ingredient in your multivitamin. But I've had more than one doctor in my lifetime say, do you take a multiple vitamin? And sometimes they say yes, sometimes I say no. So
Yeah.
it is interesting because for a long time, many doctors scoffed at vitamins. You don't
Right.
need vitamins, just eat a balanced diet. But I can't get a balanced diet,
Well,
doctor.
every time I try to balance my diet,
Yeah.
the ice cream falls off the top of the cone.
Yeah, it's a little heavy on one side
Yeah.
and on the other. Well, coming up, we're going to talk to former Congressman Ray LaHood about what appears to be a coming confrontation between Republicans and Democrats in the Senate because the House has passed all the appropriation bills for all the different departments, and now it's sitting in the Senate where Chuck Schumer said, you're not going to get it passed unless you give me what I want, even though I represent the minority. So we'll talk to Ray LaHood about that. But first things first, and that is, let's bring you up to date on the news we're following this morning. And Mike, you have headlines with all the latest. Mike Dentino.
Thank you, Roger. A shooting early yesterday morning in the 3400 block of Harmon Highway has left one man dead and a woman hospitalized with a bullet wound in the leg. Peoria County coroner identified the fatal victim as 44-year-old DeVille Wilder. Peoria County deputies were called to a house around 3 in the morning where they found Wilder critically wounded from multiple gunshot wounds. He was rushed to St. Francis Hospital where he was pronounced dead. Peoria County Sheriff Chris Watkins will join us at 7:30 this morning to talk a little bit more about this. 31-year-old Carl Rogers has been found guilty of the charge of aggravated battery in connection with the beating of a 5-year-old boy in April of 2024. The youngster suffered a traumatic brain injury but did recover and even testified at the bench trial of Rogers, who will be sentenced by Judge Sean Donahue on April 8th. A new video has been released showing a violent and angry Alex Preddy attacking ICE agents in Minneapolis, contradicting earlier accounts by the national media. Preddy, who was shot and killed while resisting agents in a physical confrontation. Prior to the scuffle, the heavily armed Preddy can be seen spitting at agents and then kicking and damaging the government vehicle. Another judge has issued a restraining order against ICE in Minnesota. Federal Judge Patrick Schultz slammed agents, claiming that they violated 96 of the court's orders. Schultz referred to lawsuits filed by 74 illegal immigrants who've loaded Minnesota courtrooms in an attempt to avoid being sent back to their mother countries. That deadly substance sprayed on leftist Congresswoman Ilhan Omar turned out to be apple cider vinegar. Police arrested the 55-year-old man who squirted Omar as she was calling for the resignation of the 54-year-old Kristi Noem as Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. Omar says if she doesn't resign, she'll be impeached. The Department of Homeland Security says it has deported nearly 3 million illegal aliens since Donald Trump took office. Under the Biden administration, more than 11 million entered the country illegally. President Trump's plan to create the Trump accounts, providing $1,000 for every U.S. citizen born between January 1st, 2025 and December 31st, 2028, is receiving a lot of support. Steak and Shake has pledged $1,000 for each child, and so has Bank of America. Musician Nicki Minaj pledged between $150,000 and $300,000. Some analysts say a newborn enrolled by parents could be worth $2.7 million by age 55. And Roger, that's it for news at the bottom of the hour.
All right, now we take a check of the weather brought to you by CPA Matt Wall of Gordon Stockman Wall. Matt is available. It's his tax time, and you can reach him today at 309-692-4030. Mostly cloudy and cold today. High of 17. Wind chill values could reach 2 below. Tonight, partly cloudy, a low 1 above. And tomorrow it'll be sunny, mostly sunny, but cold, a high 16. Tomorrow night cloudy and cold, a low around 5 degrees. Saturday sunny, 21. Sunday we're up to 26, and there is a chance for snow Sunday night. Otherwise, Monday it'll be sunny and 33, and we'll take it and run with it. 9 degrees currently our temperature. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
A boy born in Joplin, Missouri was fascinated by anything with wheels and a motor. The odds of him going on to fascinate millions with his talent? 1 in 260,000. The odds of this born racer having 157 career top 10 finishes in NASCAR? 1 in 125 billion. But every driver seeks the pinnacle of their achievements. The odds of him winning both the Daytona 500 and the Brickyard 400 in the same year? 1 in 195 million. The odds of a child being diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I'm NASCAR driver Jamie McMurray, and my niece has autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Early diagnosis can make a lifetime of difference. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
All right, and as we mentioned, we're going to talk to Congressman Ray LaHood. He's on the line. Good morning, Ray.
Good morning, Roger and friends.
You know, the big news out of Florida is the weather. What are you dealing with? Did you take a snow shovel or heavy winter clothing to deal with it?
No snow, but 43 degrees, wind chill about
Wow.
36.
So
Not quite as cold as where you are, but very chilly for Florida and particularly for the snowbirds.
yeah. So I take it you're not walking on the beach barefooted in shorts this morning.
I am sitting here talking to you on the phone in a nice warm condo.
Yeah. A good judgment. You were always known for having good judgment, Ray. We're facing a partial government shutdown, and the key issue apparently is that Democrats, particularly Chuck Schumer, is saying I want the appropriations to be separated with so we can vote on funding for Homeland Security in and by itself. We want to penalize, we want to take money away. How do you see this progressing, and how's it going to end up?
I just pulled up an article that quotes Schumer as saying that he's got three main goals, what he calls common sense reforms, and they are ending roving patrols by requiring warrants in some cases, and requiring immigration and customs enforcement to coordinate with state and local law enforcement. So that's one. Create a uniform code of conduct for agents. I think that goes to the idea of training and what kind of training they have, and to use independent investigations to enforce it, and require agents to wear body cameras and not wear a mask. Now, whether any of this will be implemented, bottom line is this: the clock is running out. because the government will shut down Friday night at midnight if the Senate does not pass appropriation bills to fund certain parts of the government, including DHS and, frankly, the Defense Department and some other agencies, which I can tell you which ones they are. But they're holding out based on what happened in Minnesota. Democrats are holding out based on what happened in Minnesota to try and extract some reforms to the program, which has been commonly referred to as ICE, which are the people that are trying to really pick up and deport illegals in the Minneapolis area. The local law enforcement people, given the fact that Minneapolis is a so-called sanctuary city, local law enforcement have not cooperated with the DHS, with the ICE, and so some people are being hidden, some people are in jails, and the ICE officials do not have access to them. And so these three reforms that Schumer, the minority leader, is talking about are now under consideration by John Thune, the majority leader. And in terms of, and we can talk more about that if you want to, Roger, but let me just tell you what agencies will stay open and which ones won't stay open. The Congress actually have passed some appropriation bills, but not all of them. And so the ones that will not be funded if the government shuts down at midnight, defense, which obviously is very, very important given all that's going on in Venezuela and with Iran and so forth, education, which has pretty much been shut down, health and human services. These are all agencies that are not funded. Homeland Security, which includes ICE, TSA, Coast Guard, FEMA, Secret Service. Housing and Urban Development, HUD, Labor, State Department, which is obviously very important given all of our activity around the world. Transportation, which is critical, and the Treasury. So those are the ones that are currently under consideration and are not funded, and then the ones that are funded are not less important, but agriculture, commerce, energy, EPA, interior justice, and so forth. So whether these three reforms that Schumer's talking about will be implemented, I think is doubtful, but there are discussions going on, and it looks very likely that the government will shut, the partial part of the government will shut down the agencies that I mentioned if a compromise is not reached.
Yeah, and I think when you say the State Department and the departments you mentioned, it means basically that the people in the military will not get paid. Do I recall
That's
that
correct.
correctly?
That is correct. Yeah.
So
Now,
it's hard
certain
Go ahead.
certain agencies will be designated as essential, and if that happens, then people will be paid. But that has to be a designation by the White House. I would assume defense would be considered essential. I would assume Secret Service would be considered essential. But in the absence of that, people are not going to be paid.
You know, I can relate to this because when I was stationed overseas in the U.S. Army, not making a heck of a lot of money, and granted, you know, I didn't have to pay room and board, and my meals were taken care of, etc. But there were some things I needed to buy personally, and as I say, I didn't make a lot of money because I was at the lower end of the food chain and the money chain, for that matter. Boy, if we don't make sure our service members, men and women, don't get paid, and many of those are married with children, that could be financially devastating to them.
It's a real hardship, and the one department that I do worry about, and we talked about this before, is the Department of Transportation, and which the FAA is a part of, which the air traffic controllers are a part of. And again, if these people are working in very intense jobs, guiding planes in and out of airports and not being paid, that causes real morale problems. And we've talked about this before, and it was discussed during the last government shutdown, which was a real debacle, and FAA controllers continue to work, but they work without pay.
Yeah, and that makes our skies dangerous and unsafe. From a political standpoint, I don't think Chuck Schumer came out of that unscathed. I think he was damaged. Even some members of his own party have threatened to replace him as minority leader. Why does he think that he can do it again and come out of it unscathed? Politically.
Well, I think the difference this time, Rogers, what's happened in Minneapolis, where 2 people have been killed, and in this last incident, the ICE agents have been put on leave as a result of the killing that took place. And I think that the turmoil that's been created, not only in Minneapolis, but in the minds of the American people around the country, and even acknowledged by President Trump, with the replacement of the ICE supervisor who was in charge, has been replaced by Tom Homan, who's been in charge of the overall activities that have taken place around the country. Homan is in Minneapolis. He's there as the representative of President Trump. He's actually conducting his own investigation and will report back to the president on what he has found. The ICE agents that were involved in this incident have been put on leave. So I think that has created the kind of wedge argument or wedge issue that did not exist previously during the previous government shutdown. Whether Schumer will come in for the same kind of criticism this time around, time will tell. But the last thing we need is for a government shutdown, but it looks very, very likely, and it only hurts the American people. It only hurts really the people that are affected by these agencies, either if they're working there or in the event that the impacted taxpayers are impacted.
Well, I like to draw a parallel between what President Trump did, replacing Bovino with Tom Homan. That's kind of like a team owner firing the manager after maybe somewhat. You have to do something, and Trump felt he had to do something to give the appearance that he was in charge and on top of everything. And that's the easiest thing to do is make some changes and give the impression that he's on top of it, and he is on top of it. So the optics are positive, I think.
Yeah, the optics are not good now, and I do think it appears that the president still supports Kristi Noem, the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, which is an agency that has 22 agencies under its jurisdiction, not just the ICE program, but many other programs, and she still seems to be have the confidence of the president, and it's likely that she will continue in that position.
Well, I hope so, because, impeachment seems to be part of the primary vocabulary of the opposing party. You remember we had somewhat of a bump in the road for Pete Hegseth, and there were calls that he get impeached. And obviously that was a slogan of the Democrat Party for Donald Trump, impeach Donald Trump. So they love to use the word impeach, and I hope that the Secretary continues to have the confidence of the President of the United States, because she has done nothing wrong, in my opinion.
Yeah, well,
my
it's
opinion
clear.
counts.
It's clear that she does for the moment. But we all know with Trump, things can change pretty quickly too. So.
Well, that's true as well. Kind of like the weather. We hope that the weather in Florida changes very quickly, so you can get out on the golf course once again.
Exactly.
Anything else you want to add to the good of our conversation this morning, Ray LaHood?
Well, we'll keep an eye on what's going on in Washington and hope the government doesn't shut down. It causes so much disruption to so many, and we don't want that to happen. So we'll keep an eye out, and if you want to talk again tomorrow and get another update, we can do that.
We'll do that as well. In the meantime, Merry Christmas. Thanks, Ray.
Have a good day.
You bet. Well, we might as well, with the temperatures and the chance for snow Sunday night, anything can happen.
True enough.
But cooler heads prevail, particularly with the help of our pet tip of the day.
Today's Pet Tip is brought to you by Peoria Pet Crematory of Peoria and Lewiston, providing final care for family pets, large and small, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their phone number is 713-1898. That's 713-1898. More information is available at peoriapetcrematory.com.
Pet lovers are dedicated to their animals, all species from horses to turtles and of course cats and dogs. If you are a pet lover, learn these little known, somewhat amazing facts about your pet. When you find a badly dehydrated kitten or puppy, the first thing you must do is replace the lost electrolytes the same as in a human baby. Clear Pedialyte will work well. Take a small syringe without a needle and holding the kitten in a sitting position, push the syringe into its mouth and slowly give the unflavored Pedialyte. Be careful he doesn't choke or aspirate the fluid into his lungs. Depending on how dehydrated the kitten is, you can give 12 cc's every hour, but hopefully you can get him to a vet sooner. It's also a safe bet the kitten has not eaten and is in need of nourishment. Kitten Milk Replacer, KMR, can be purchased in powder form at any pet or farm store. Mix the KMR with the Pedialyte and using the syringe, give the mixture in the same manner. This can help the animal greatly and buy you the time you need to get the kitten to the vet or rescue. My sister did not know about these precious tips, and time was lost for the kitten she tried to save. Now she has learned some valuable tips. Remember, keep Pedialyte on hand, always have Kitten Milk Replacer, and then you can help any ailing animal while you're on the way to the vet. This whisker of information has been made possible by a grant from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting in partnership with Spot, Saving Pets One at a Time, and KSBR Studios. Produced by Joseph C. McGuire and theme music by Stuardo Glasser.
Today's Pet Tip has been brought to you by Peoria Pet Crematory of Peoria and Lewiston, providing final care for family pets, large and small, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their phone number is 713-1898. That's 713-1898. More information is available at peoriapetcrematory.com.
All right, Louis Linder. Weather-wise, mostly cloudy and cold today. High of 17 right now. We have 8 degrees. As regular listeners know, Mike Dentino is retired, and he is quickly earning a reputation as a beekeeper. And, I got to thinking, in this cold weather, how do bees survive? How do you manage to... You doing CPR or
lots of layers.
Lots of layers.
There's
Okay.
there's little bee fur coats and galoshes and tell you,
and goulash.
well, I'll tell you
for
what, it
meals.
gets pretty expensive when you've got 3 sets of boots and
Yes.
covers for their antennas and all that sort of stuff. But now, realistically, what the bees do is they slow down.
So do we.
Yeah, I know. I'm very slow.
So if we're all on the same page.
Yeah, I mean, they congregate in the middle of the hive and they try to do whatever they can to keep warm. They, the whole reason bees, gather honey and pollen and all the other stuff that they have in the hive is so that they can overwinter. And so at this point, what I'm hoping, you're not supposed to open the hive during this time of year, especially when the weather is this cold.
Yeah, I was going to say, shut the barn door,
Yeah.
Mike. We're in here shivering.
If I try to lift the top, I'm sure I'm going to be upbraided by some. Hey, shut the door! Come on!
Oh, you born in a barn?
Yeah, exactly.
How many times, seriously, did you hear your mother say,
God.
shut the door, Roger, you're born in a barn?
You're not heating. Why are you heating the neighborhood? It's all those lovely sayings our parents.
Yeah. Now the parents
peppered us
just
with.
swear at kids.
Yeah. If you're lucky, you didn't get something thrown at you.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah,
What's the survival? Do you lose some of the bees? during
well,
the cold
you
weather?
lose. Bees are always dying. They're dying off. Winter, oddly enough, in the summer, a bee might only last 4 to 6 weeks, and they literally work themselves to death. During the winter month, they're much more long-lived. They may last most of the winter, but you have losses, and a lot of times you won't even know that your bees don't make it until you peek in the hive when it's a little warmer and see, oh, well, that didn't work. I should have bought the thermopane windows. But this is the first winter that I've had bees, and so I've got my fingers crossed, hoping are they going to make it or are they not going to make it. If they don't make it, I'll send my little coupons in and buy another little box of bees, and we'll start over again. But if you're a little, once you're more experienced, you'll have a better idea of what do you have to do to make them last. So this is Terra Nova for me. This is new ground. So we'll see if So I haven't named all of them. I don't want to get too attached.
I don't know. Hey, we have someone calling in. Good morning. You're on the air.
Well, Mr. Mike, I hear you giving everybody the bee's nest.
Yes.
Beeswax. The beeswax.
Yeah, I'll be getting waxed if I don't have bees next spring. Be buying another 100.
What I called to elaborate on is your guys talking about when the parents say, were you born in a barn? That's something that Jesus' mom never told him.
No.
Yeah. It's funny. We are on the same. I was
sore
thinking
spot.
the same thing. What's so bad about being in a barn?
Yeah. No. How you guys doing this morning?
We're trying to warm up. How about you?
I'm on my way to the headquarters to make sure I can hold down the fort to keep those kiddos safe.
There you go.
I have a question for you. I know what a great human being you are. Do you once in a while see a kid you wonder if they need a new coat, a new winter stocking cap, or something to stay warm? Do you see that much
anymore? Funny that you say that, Uncle Roger. That's very funny that you said that because I literally just gave a couple of kids some coats, some gloves, and hats.
God
and they
bless
have
you.
Well, that's the human thing to do. Even though I kind of want to take the scarf I gave them and do other things with it, but
yeah. But your code of ethics will allow it. Yeah.
I don't think I said that on air, did I? Did, dang. Okay, no, but seriously, you're right, Uncle Roger. In the morning, sometimes the kiddos come in, and you got to double check with them because sometimes they're a little absent-minded, and they may have forgot it, left it at home or something to that effect. So, but it was a couple of kids came in with just only like a hoodie or a sweater on. And I'm like, man, it's too cold. Where's your coat? And he's like, I don't have one. Something to that effect, or I lost it or something. So then the people there, the staff where I work at, and most of the schools in the district are very studious about that, or should I say prompt. They're on it. They're on the spot about, hey, let's get this taken care of immediately. And they have like a storage area with like things like that they can help kids with.
Well, that's good. God bless you for doing that. It used to be, I think a TV station used to do coats for kids, and I think 25, I think they dropped the program, and I think maybe 31 picked it up. But I know of your heart and your mind and your soul is reaching out to others, and I know if you see a kid that isn't dressed appropriately, you'll find out why, and if they need a coat, you will jump to it, and you can count on all of us here at Breakfast with Roger and Friends to get into that process as well.
Oh, absolutely. And all the years that I worked at the Dollar Tree, they used to have like coats and scarves and hats, and they had a box that they used to do and donate. And
Great.
A lot of people did that, and I definitely, me and my wife and our family definitely donated to things like that all the time, because you just never know. Some people are just less fortunate, and they don't have the means to do that, and you just help them. Or the kids outgrow coats and stuff too. That happens. That's always the thing where it's like, hey, so, and then kids, like I said, I'm included as when I was a young, you get absent-minded, have a snowball fight or something like that, and you go to take your gloves off to shake the snow off and lose one of them or something. It happens. Or you put it in your pocket and don't clamp the buttons down and it come. I mean, it happens. Things happen, man. Think about how many gloves you lost. Just think about it. Over the years.
Oh, yeah.
You lost. Everybody done lost the gloves. You be walking in the street like, man, I hate to see that kid with the frozen hand because you see the glove missing. So,
you're right.
You never know.
I learned. I learned early on the value of having the idiot string on my mittens.
You didn't. Your mother learned. Your mother learned that, that they started
I hated
sewing.
it as a kid when you had to get that safety pin put on your glove and things.
Yep.
Like, you know what that's for.
Yeah.
You the kid that always loses gloves.
No, boy, you're exact. And gloves were the biggest thing to lose.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
you're definitely going to lose the glove. And see, now that I'm a gentleman of the age 50 plus and I no longer have hair, I have to keep a hat on my head.
Yeah. Someone said,
I can't leave out the house without Miss Parker like, where's your hat? I'm like, it's in my pocket. It should be on your head, sir. Like, yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
I'm getting to it. I'm doing it.
I'm not sure she
Yep.
calls you
Well,
sir.
I just wanted to call and say good morning and love you guys. Miss
Love you
guys.
too. Keep up the good work, my friend.
The poster for the show should be up and active this week. I'll get it. I'll bring in the poster for the show, for the birthday show thing. I'll bring it in sometime this week, or I'll come and bring it by to you for Sunday or whatever. But other than that, love you guys. Have a blessed day.
The same to you, Ed. Thank you.
much.
The one and only Eddie. What a neat guy he is, and does such a great job. Ed Parker, officer friendly. Hey, we have news, weather, and sports coming up in the next hour. We'll talk to Peoria County Sheriff Chris Watkins, so stick around for more on Breakfast with Roger and Friends on WAZU FM 90.7 in Peoria, Illinois, and on YouTube as well. morning, everybody. It is Thursday, January 29th, and we start with a check of the weather this morning, brought to you by Steve Sink, PHX Affiliates. You can reach Steve at 696-8508, specializing in the sale or purchase of business. Steve knows business, and you can reach out, as we say, and talk with him at no obligation, 696-8508. Weather-wise, mostly cloudy and cold today, a high of 17. Wind chill values could reach 2 below. Tonight, partly cloudy, a low of 1 above. Tomorrow, mostly sunny. We like that sound, but cold, a high of only 16 tomorrow. Tomorrow night, cloudy and cold, a low around 5. And Saturday, it'll be sunny. We're up to 21. We reach 26 on Sunday. And by the way, there's a chance for snow Sunday night. Monday, sunny and hooray, 33. Right now, our temperature, 8 degrees. And now with the news, here's Mike and Terry.
Thank you, Roger. Well, a shooting early yesterday morning in the 3400 block of Harmon Highway has left one man dead and a woman hospitalized with a bullet wound to her leg. Peoria County Coroner identified the fatal victim as 44-year-old DeVille Wilder. Peoria County deputies were called to the house around 3 in the morning, where they found Wilder critically wounded from multiple gunshot wounds. He was rushed to St. Francis Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. Peoria County Sheriff Chris Watkins will join us at 7:30 this morning to discuss this further.
31-year-old Carl Rogers has been found guilty of the charge of aggravated battery in connection with the beating of a 5-year-old boy in April of 2024. The youngster suffered a traumatic brain injury but did recover and even testified at the bench trial of Rogers, who will be sentenced by Judge Sean Donahue April 8th.
New video has been released showing a violent and angry Alex Preddy attacking ICE agents in Minneapolis, contradicting earlier accounts by the national media. Preddy, who was shot and killed while resisting agents in a physical confrontation prior to the scuffle, the heavily armed Preddy can be seen spitting at agents and then kicking and damaging the government vehicle. Investigations are underway.
Meanwhile, another judge has issued a restraining order against ICE agents in Minnesota. Federal Judge Patrick Schultz slammed agents, claiming they had violated 96 of the court's orders. Schultz refers to lawsuits filed by 74 illegal immigrants who flooded Minnesota courtrooms in an attempt to avoid being sent back to their mother countries. No word on who's paying for their lawyers.
That deadly substance sprayed on leftist Congresswoman Ilhan Omar turned out to be apple cider vinegar. Police arrested a 55-year-old man who squirted Omar as she was calling for the resignation of 54-year-old Kristi Noem as Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. Omar says that if she doesn't resign, she'll be impeached. You'll recall Democrats also called for the impeachment of Pete Hegseth and, before that, Donald Trump.
The Department of Homeland Security says it has deported nearly 3 million illegal aliens since Donald Trump took office. Under the Biden administration, more than 11 million entered the country illegally.
President Trump's plan to create the Trump accounts, providing $1,000 to every U.S. citizen born between January 1st, 2025 and December 31st, 2028, is receiving a lot of support. Steak and Shake has pledged $1,000 for each child, and so has Bank of America. Musician Nicki Minaj pledged between $150,000 and $300,000. Some analysis say a newborn enrolled by parents could be worth $2.7 million by age 55.
Not bad.
Yeah, not bad at all. And that's news at the top of the hour, Roger.
All right, and we have more news from WCBU.
From the WCBU Newsroom, I'm Courtney Conroy. Plans to transform a vacant property on Peoria's south side into a mental health services and workforce programming facility for parolees will move forward. Grow Community will turn the empty building on Southwest Adams Street into a 12-bedroom transitional residence for formerly incarcerated men. CEO Aaron Mallory stresses the term halfway house does not accurately describe how the facility will operate.
When we think about a halfway house, that's individuals being released from prison and being directly sent to a location or a space. This is an opportunity, one, for individuals to get treatment, to get support, and to build workforce development skills.
The council narrowly approved the project on a 6-5 vote. Peoria's mayor and police chief say local law enforcement officers are prohibited by state law from assisting federal immigration enforcement. Police Chief Eric Echevarria says the department pledges to not allow violence in the wake of the recent deadly turmoil in Minneapolis.
The current state of ICE is a danger to communities. So I'll say that publicly. You know, the impact of unchecked power is just devastating.
Mayor Rita Ali also affirmed the city's obligation to abide by the state's Trust Act that prohibits local police from conducting immigration enforcement. Central Illinois lawmakers say they are looking to help farmers as they face financial troubles because of tariffs, inflations, and increased competition from South America. Democratic State Senator Dave Kaler says he plans to push a bill to raise the exemption on the estate tax to support family farms.
I don't know what that means for any of our programs, but because we're going to have to cut somewhere. But this is an important one if we want to preserve the character of family farms in Illinois.
Kaler says there are still concerns about passing the bill because of a tight budget this year. And the Illinois-based American Academy of Pediatrics has released its annual childhood and adolescent vaccine schedule. It's a departure from federal guidelines, which saw cuts to the number of recommended vaccines for kids earlier this month. The vaccines in dispute include those for rotavirus, COVID-19, influenza, and hepatitis. I'm Courtney Conroy.
Well, good morning, sports fans. The vacationing Dr. Gene Sidler is not available, so we'll do the best we can with our sports report this morning, highlighting the coming game between our Bradley Braves and the Drake Bulldogs that will take place in Des Moines this Saturday. Tip-off time 5 p.m. Bradley with a record of 14-8, tied with the University of Illinois in Chicago, UIC, which hammered Bradley, by the way, at the Peoria Civic Center. And the Braves are in third place behind league leaders Belmont and Murray State. Drake is 6-5 in the Valley and in 7th place, but they always give Bradley a rough time. This will be a difficult game. Anyway, go Bradley. You can get the latest on Bradley basketball news at bradleyfans.com. In college action last night on the hardwoods, it was Iowa defeating the University of Southern Cal 73-72. In that game, by the way, Southern Cal led most of the way, and then the Hawkeyes came back and won it 73-72, as we said. Belmont just barely got past Valpo 78-77, and that would have been a major upset in the Valley, but it didn't happen. What did happen, Illinois State, the Redbirds, that's one of the few times I'll root for ISU. They defeated Murray State 70-65. Go Redbirds. Drake, on the other hand, who Bradley will face, as we mentioned, beat Evansville 82-78. And another Valley action, Southern Illinois hammered Northern Iowa. That is somewhat of an upset, particularly because of the margin of victory for the Salukis, 65-50, according to my math. That's about a 15-point margin. And in the Big Ten, another score, we have Wisconsin 67 and Minnesota 63. And again, that was another game in which the Badgers were behind for the most part, but came back and won it in a barn burner, 67-63. And finally, another score that you may or may not be interested in, but we'll give it to you anyway. Tennessee nipping Georgia 86-85, and there you have the latest in sports on this Thursday morning. And welcome to hour number 2. Coming up shortly, we'll be talking with Peoria County Sheriff Chris Watkins about a couple of interesting subjects. Did either one of you happen to see the video of this guy in Minnesota it's new video, and it kind of gives you an idea of his mindset.
I saw the tail end of it when he was kicking the car. Or,
Yeah, and he smashed. He must have had steel boots.
Steel-toe boots?
tip
Probably.
boots,
Yeah.
because he not only smashed the tail light, but the whole what would you call it? Not the capsule, but the piece that fits into
Right, the
the
trim
car.
pieces.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, he smashed them big time. The most revolting part of it was spitting at the agents.
Right.
So this wonderful, and then the cable news network followed up with, they described him as a nurse in ICU versus maybe a nurse in pediatrics. Yeah,
Right,
yeah, he's
right.
a nurse in ICU. And then they showed pictures of a video of other nurses saying vile and even talking about poisoning
Right.
certain people in the Trump administration. And I think now when we go to the hospital, do we have to worry about letting people know you're a Republican or a Democrat or a communist? Is this nurse going to
Right.
poison us?
Well, I mean, we're actually going back around to the good old COVID days when some medical personnel were floating the idea that, well, maybe if people refuse to get the vaccine, that maybe we should have the option not to treat them and not let them into our ER. I mean, this is going far beyond just ridiculous. This is going into the vile and the reprehensible. There was one Virginia nurse who was posting videos about sabotaging ICE agents by injecting them with paralytics.
Yes, yes.
I mean, come on. This, when you get past this, or when you come up to this line, this is the Rubicon. This is a line that if you're going to pass it, you are going to plunge us into civil war. And for people that are actually supposed to be medical personnel, they're supposed to have taken an oath of some type. I'm not.
The Hippocratic Oath.
Yeah, they're-
First do no harm.
Right. This is just asinine. This is beyond the pale, because it's really quite a bright line where you have the right to free speech. You have the right to protest, but you do not, and we have to be very clear on this, as much as you revile, as much as you despise any law enforcement agent, whether it's a policeman, policewoman, ICE agent, TSA agent, as much as you dislike what they do, they are performing a law enforcement function, and as much as you can protest, as much as you can object to what they're doing, you do not have the right to interfere with their duty. You cannot, frankly, I have absolutely zero sympathy for people obstructing the lawful duties of a government employee, which means while you have the right to protest, you don't have the right to block traffic. You don't have the right to interfere with a law enforcement agent arresting someone or moving someone out of the way.
You don't have the right to harm somebody else in pursuit of that. I
Right.
mean,
Well,
that's-
and you'll have no sympathy, like this dumbass who I thought it was rather amusing that they grabbed a flashbang. Now, the video I saw said, oh, they grabbed a flashbang and tried to throw it back. Well, first of all, I don't know if that was a flashbang. If you grab a flashbang before it goes off, if it goes off in your hand, you are going to need medical attention. If you grab a CS canister, a tear gas canister, pardon me, if you grab that, yes, your dainty little fingers are going to need medical attention because those canisters are very, very hot. So yeah, you are going to need to see someone at the emergency room about the little brown parts on your fingers.
If they're even there.
Yeah. Well, and that's just it. You know, with a flashbang, you may be in fact missing part of those little pinkies of yours. And if you are stupid enough to grab that with your bare hands, you'll get no sympathy whatsoever for me.
Me neither.
It's the FAFO theory, and you're not going to be happy with what you're doing. But in that one video clip that I saw, I thought it was, quite interesting where she runs she runs into the frame holding on to some object, tosses it, and then drops on the ground writhing in apparent pain. Well, first of all, flashbangs, they're going to be hot. They may not hold a lot of heat to begin with, but that was a great who do I want to like Bill Lambier or Kelly Tripucka basketball flop.
Mm-hmm.
That would have done some European soccer players proud, the way she dropped to the ground like that. But if you're going to be part of the crowd, don't like Billy Joel would say, "Don't come crying to me."
Argentina.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, and you hit the nail on the head. The thing I worry about is if they are successful in defunding and diminishing and reducing ICE agents, what branch of law enforcement are they going to go after next?
Right.
You remember many cities we're talking about, including the commies, now the mayor in New York City, calling for defunding the police, actually reducing the police force, replacing them with social workers.
People elect the government they deserve. I truly believe that. And I, for one, especially in cities like New York and Chicago, I'm almost at the point where I say, you want social workers instead of police, give them social workers instead of police. Give them what they desire. Give them what they ask for, and let's see how long that lasts. If Pritzker wants all of ICE out of Chicago, then I say give them what they want, and let's see how long they last. Because and that's probably cutting my own nose off to spite my face.
Well, none.
But, hey, if things are going to be turned upside down on their head, then, let's do that. Let's talk to Iowa and see if Iowa or Indiana are interested in having a few more counties added to their, county total in that state. Because, we are not being, in Illinois, we are not being served well by our government because our government is playing shell games with the money. Every time we turn around, there's something else new, and they're trying hard to bum rush us on a graduated tax, which is not all it does is it allows them to have another tool to nick us pennies, nickels, and dimes to the point where, well, I don't care if they tax the millionaires. Well, pretty soon you run out of millionaires.
Yep.
Because the odd thing about people who run businesses, people who actually create jobs, are oftentimes very mobile. There are many jobs out there which are, you have to be in Illinois to do that. If you want to be a plumber in Illinois, you got to be in Illinois to be a plumber. If you've got to, if you want to repair cars in Illinois, you have to be in Illinois. But if you're starting some sort of financial services business,
A consulting business.
you don't have to do that here. You don't have to consult here. You don't have to, if you want to manufacture something, well, I can manufacture that in Indiana, or I can manufacture that in Des Moines. I can, as a business person, I certainly can move my business to another state in many cases. So what does that, where does that leave us? Where does that leave us as far as, you know, having more and more businesses here in Illinois? You know, I read an article the other day that Illinois actually gained population over the last 12 months. They've gained population.
Are you sure of that?
Well, I didn't write the article, but the article.
Or were you reading a comic book?
Well, yeah, Matt, that now I did.
That's getting a little
there were a
personal.
lot of pictures in the book I was
Yeah,
reading.
okay.
But
hand drawn.
the fact, yeah, well, you know, I had to put my crayons down
Yeah.
because I was writing the editor. But the fact is, if Illinois did gain population, we gained it by, you know, individuals from other countries. And I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that the people from other countries that were coming in were probably not Chinese millionaires.
No.
I think you might be, that's a pretty wild assertion.
Well, I mean, sure, China's got lots of millionaires. They can spare a few.
Yeah, they certainly can. Well, guess who walked in? Peoria County Sheriff, Chris Watkins. Good to see you,
Good
Sheriff.
morning, guys.
You've been busy, haven't you?
Yeah, it's been quite 48 hours. We got woken up about 3:30 yesterday morning. We had an unfortunate homicide about a mile away from the jail on Harmon Highway. So we're in the middle of investigating that. We have some suspects that have not been arrested yet. So our detectives are hard at work.
I was going to say, what can you tell us? And because some of the information that came out, you wondered whether or not the two who were shot were the only two involved. But you're using the word suspect, so obviously you're letting people know this someone killed the man and wounded the woman. Am I concluding that correctly?
I can tell you there's other people involved.
Okay. All right.
We got to keep it kind of tight until we make these arrests.
Well, you know, it's okay.
Nobody's
you
listening.
you can tell. you can tell us. Nobody listens to the show anyway. So
It's an isolated incident. It was.
Yeah.
It sounds like it was over an argument. So you
Yeah.
know, there's no danger to anybody else. But as soon as we make those arrests, I'll be putting another statement out.
Yeah.
Hopefully sooner than later.
You know, you're talking about weapons and guns and so forth, and there's been a lot of speculation about what happened in Minneapolis, particularly with the shooting of the one individual and so forth. And I thought one of the first questions I'd like to ask you, Sheriff, is what kind of training do your men and women do when it comes to the use of weapons? And you can talk about what weapons they do carry.
Yeah, I mean, it comes obviously when you're first hired, you go to the academy and you get your basic skills there. Then when you get out, you go to field training where we joke around. That's when we really teach you how to be a cop. When you get back to us.
When you
after
get,
the
yeah,
academy.
so you can relearn everything they learned at the. By the way, how many days, hours, or whatever do they spend at the police academy, and where is the police academy?
So there's a couple in the state. We use University of Illinois. You're actually on the campus of University of Illinois. They have a
In
really
Champaign.
Yeah, that's where I went. They have a very good program. There's another one in Macon County that people go to, and then there's one up north, in the suburbs. People can go to also. But Champaign, we like Champaign quite a bit. Peoria PD sends their people there too.
And how long the training course is
I
it?
think it's 18 weeks now. They keep extending.
Really?
Yeah, it's several months.
Do they actually live there, or do they
yeah,
go each day?
I lived in the dorms.
You did?
It was
Really?
interesting.
Did it
yeah.
feel good to be a college student?
Not with all the rules that we had.
Well, yeah, well, there you go, rules for it. By
Yeah.
the way, a little personal story. I was in a restaurant in Morton and ran into a couple of law enforcement officers from northern Illinois. I don't know where, as I recall. But they were returning from just having graduated from the academy, and they had stopped to get something to eat at a fast food joint in Morton. Two really neat guys, and I quizzed them a little bit, and they said it was good training, and they feel a lot more comfortable about entering the law enforcement field.
Yeah, I mean, that gives you your baseline. And then, so since I've been sheriff, we've almost tripled our training. We do felony stops, you know, when you actually think somebody's committed a felony. Those are obviously very every traffic stop is dangerous, but when you do a felony stop, it's even more dangerous. That means something's already
They're on the
happened.
run.
Yeah, if it's a stolen car or whatever. So we practice those every year because those are so important. That's usually where a lot of use of force happens. We do right now. Our people are at ICC doing over the winter. We do. They have the simulator training, which is all use of force. It's a 3D simulator, very high tech. And then we also do active shooter training every year. We pick a different high school and do that. We do physical use of force training where they're rolling around on the ground. We've all enacted this in the last 3 or 4 years, and it's helped. It helps confidence. It helps morale. When cops know they're trained well, it helps morale.
Do you use video from a John Wayne movie about rolling on the ground and shooting at
We used
bad
to.
guys?
Yeah, on
Used to?
VHS.
Okay,
yeah. True Grit.
yeah, exactly right. Can you and do you assess as they go through training those that need additional work, or maybe even some that say, I'm not sure they're prepared to be a police officer?
Yeah, we do a lot of one-on-one range training. If we think their shooting is not great, we'll do one-on-one training with them. Anytime most of these have limits of what you have to do. If we see somebody's falling behind, it's nice that we do a lot of our training in-house. So we have instructors that can work with them throughout the week or whatever. We're a big enough department. A lot of departments don't have it. They have to send their people to school, which is very hard to do. But we can do core training just like Peoria PD does.
Yeah. When you recruit someone to become a part of your department, what percentage drop out on their own, or you help them drop out?
Yeah, some people aren't cut out, and sometimes you don't know that until they get in the job.
Oh, really?
Some people give a good interview, and you think they're a
right.
good person, but then they just figure out the job's not good for them. And the last thing you want to do is just keep that person along, and it's not right for them. So they're on probation, so we watch them pretty hard when they're on probation. But sometimes it's a tough job. Sometimes it takes a year or two to get comfortable in your skin in this job because you have to learn how to de-escalate. You're a 22-year-old kid, and you're trying to talk to a 10-year-old that doesn't want to go to school. There's just there's a lot of different situations that we encounter. But we haven't had somebody drop out in the program in a while. We've been picking some really good. We have a really good application group right now, which there for a while it was really hard to find.
I'm going to say one of the things that we are hearing, particularly out of the White House, that is positive, is an uptake in the number of men and women who are seeking to join the military, which is almost a 180-degree change in the previous 4 years. You're indicating that you're seeing more and more people showing an interest in law enforcement.
Yes, it's nice to see.
What do you attribute that to?
I think
Just
it's a lot of
different mindset now?
I think it's a lot of factors. Back in 2020 and 21, there was a lot of civil unrest, and there was a lot of anti-police things. And I think some people were like, "I don't want to be nowhere near that. This does not look good." Especially in Illinois, it was a little rough there for a while. I think we now are above that, and I think the workforce is tightening up a little bit too. We're just seeing a lot more applicants, so I think jobs are becoming a little bit harder to find. So I think that probably helps quite a bit.
That
too.
makes a difference as well. We're talking with Peoria County Sheriff Chris Watkins. We'll continue that conversation, but first we're going to pause to bring you up to date with some of the news and tell you about the weather as well. Whether you're starting a family, funding a child's education, or addressing healthcare needs, Bob Manning will work with you to create a roadmap to your future. And he is with Morgan Stanley, and you can reach Bob today at 309-671-4653. With our headlines, here's Mike Dentino.
Thanks, Roger. A shooting early yesterday morning in the 3400 block of Harmon Highway has left one man dead and a woman hospitalized with a bullet wound to the leg. Peoria County Coroner identified the fatal victim as 44-year-old DeVille Wilder. Peoria County deputies were called to a house around 3 in the morning where they found Wilder critically wounded from multiple gunshot wounds. He was rushed to St. Francis Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. 31-year-old Carl Rogers has been found guilty of the charge of aggravated battery in connection with the beating of a 5-year-old boy in April of 2024. The youngster suffered a traumatic brain injury but did recover and he was even able to testify at the bench trial of Rogers, who will be sentenced by Judge Sean Donahue in April of this year. A new video has been released showing a violent and angry Alex Preddy attacking ICE agents in Minneapolis, contradicting earlier accounts by national media. Preddy, who was shot and killed while resisting agents in a physical confrontation prior to the scuffle, the heavily armed Preddy can be seen spitting at agents and then kicking and damaging the government vehicle. Another judge has issued a restraining order against ICE agents in Minnesota. Federal Judge Patrick Schultz slammed agents claiming that they had violated 96 of the court's orders. Schultz referred to the lawsuits filed by 74 illegal immigrants who've loaded Minnesota courtrooms in an attempt to avoid being sent back to their mother countries. The deadly substance sprayed on leftist Congresswoman Ilhan Omar has turned out to be apple cider vinegar. Police arrested a 55-year-old man who squirted Omar as she was calling for the resignation of the 54-year-old Kristi Noem as Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. Omar says if she doesn't resign, she'll be impeached. The Department of Homeland Security says it has deported nearly 3 million illegal aliens since Donald Trump took office. Under the Biden administration, more than 11 million entered the country illegally. President Trump's plan to create the Trump accounts, providing $1,000 to every U.S. citizen born between January 1st, 2025 and December 31st, 2028, is receiving a lot of support. Steak and Shake has pledged $1,000 for each child, and so has Bank of America. Musician Nicki Minaj pledged between $150,000 and $300,000. Some analysts say that a newborn enrolled by parents could be worth $2.5 million by age 55. And Roger, that's it for news at the bottom of the hour.
All right, now a check of the weather brought to you by Spoon River Home Health. Recover faster at home with Spoon River nurses, therapists, and personal care assistants. And you can reach Spoon River today at 309-245-0723. Weather-wise, mostly cloudy and cold today, a high of 17. Wind chill values could reach 2 below. Tonight, partly cloudy, a low 5, no, 1 above. And tomorrow will be mostly sunny and cold, a high of 16. Tomorrow night, cloudy and cold, a low around 5. And going into the weekend, Saturday, sunny, 21. We're up to 26 on Sunday. But look at Monday, sunny and 33. Oh, yes, I want to throw in a negative thought. There's a chance for snow Sunday night. And we hope it's, they say 40%. We've argued about this before or discussed. Where do we say it's going to snow? 50%, right?
I would say at least 50%.
Yeah.
40%, yeah.
40%, so maybe I shouldn't have said that and made people get depressed over it. 8 degrees currently. We're talking with Peoria County Sheriff Chris Watkins, and Chris, you had mentioned about de-escalation. That happens to be a popular term right now because everybody, particularly the politicians, including the President of the United States, wants to de-escalate. Can you de-escalate when people don't want to be de-escalated unless they're on an elevator?
If they don't want to, I mean, we can always try, and sometimes even if they don't want to, you can be successful in that. And other times people talk themselves into handcuffs. You know. That's,
yeah, I haven't heard that. That's a great expression. Hey, pal, you just talked yourself into a pair of cuffs and an arrest.
Yeah, it just depends on the what you're seeing in Minneapolis. You know, a lot of that's agitators, and if you don't address those agitators, it just, as you can see, it just really explodes.
It's like a cancer.
Yeah,
it
is.
just spreads rapidly.
Yeah, you have to be
doesn't
on
it?
top of that real quick. And that's why you're really not seeing that a whole lot in other cities. It's just, in my opinion, poor leadership up there all the way around. And once you just let that go, it's hard to reel back in. That's why you're not seeing that in other cities.
And it's interesting to see the video we talked earlier. I don't know whether you saw the video of the guy who was shot. He was not just a gentle person on the scene to observe. He actually was a rioter. They still call him a protester, but he was a rioter. He spit at the officers. Protesters don't spit in the faces of police officers. And then he must have had a steel-tipped shoe because he kicked the back end. And I couldn't believe what he did. I mean, Minnesota, which is not a great football school, could have recruited him to kick field goals. I mean, he did a hell of a job on the back end of that government vehicle.
I almost thought the video was fake when I first saw it last night, and I don't know if it's been officially confirmed or not, if it's real video, but I think it is probably. That's where you just got to be very careful. You can't jump to conclusions.
Right.
You gotta let the investigation play out. I know it's so hard these days to do that. You want to know. Everyone's an expert right now, but even like our local officer-involved shootings, everybody wants to know now, but you gotta let those play out, because as you can see, as both of those shootings up there, things have kind of came out the next day, the day after.
A little bit different.
It's a little different, right?
Yeah.
Maybe not perfect, but a little different. So it is important to let that process. You have to trust the process, and I think that's an issue up there too. Is I don't know who trusts who up there.
Nobody does. And the fact is, too, that with situations like this, the information tends to drag out bit by bit by bit. You see, well, video is there. Well, then all of a sudden, someone has, because we're living in a time where, instant information is expected. Where my father had a phrase. And this is back in the 70s. He used to throw, the now generation. Now, people expect to see, first of all, everyone thinks every cop has a camera, or they're supposed to have a camera. And if it's not released immediately, then everyone's suspicious. Oh, what are they hiding? What are they hiding? How come they didn't let this out? And we have really unfortunate situations like the young man was killed last year, a couple of years, Laquan McDonald in Chicago. And for the longest time, they didn't let the video out, and everyone was, what are you hiding, what are you hiding? Well, it turns out they were hiding some stuff. Yeah. And we're hoisted on our own petard in that respect.
And you lose trust when that happens, right?
Right.
A new rule that just came in effect last year, you saw the Peoria chief talk about it when they had their last officer-involved shooting. When there's an officer-involved shooting in Peoria, we have to call the state police. They do the investigation.
Right.
As elected official, I like to be, I like to release things. I like to be transparent. Now we have to sign something saying that we cannot put anything out. We have to let the state police. And I get why because they want the integrity of the investigation. Right. But me, as being an elected official, I like to put a little bit out there because if you don't, people are automatically going to put those rumors, and sometimes those spiral out of control, right? So
exactly.
It can be a frustrating thing.
Even if you disclose everything a little bit later, it doesn't necessarily, or sometimes not at all, heal the wounds that's already been caused out there by the lack of information or the misinformation that people either put out there because nature abhors a vacuum. Since you didn't say that, you didn't release this video, or you didn't tell us this, or you didn't tell us that, so we're going to assume bad intent or dishonesty, and it's hard to it's hard to either walk that back or cure that or heal that later on, because the damage is already done.
And now you have these social media people that are making money off this content. We're getting FOIAs every day for our body cameras from these national people that are just putting these body cameras out there, because the more people that get clicks, they make money off that.
Really? I did not know that.
you're seeing all the Minneapolis stuff. If you go on X, it's just all over it, right? And half the stuff is misinformation, but they get money for those clicks. There's no repercussions to put bad information out there. And if that doesn't change, it's going to get worse.
It's a race to the bottom, especially now with
Race to the bottom.
Yeah,
That's
it is.
good.
It is.
Well, I know it's funny, but it's accurate.
Oh yeah, and it's now AI fakes are only a click away, and what's your incentive not to make something up? There's always someone out there that's ready to torch, whatever for their own purposes, and especially now we're living in a time where, hey, why shouldn't I? I mean, what is going to happen to me if I put out a something with someone else's face on it, or put a gun. I'll change the cell phone for a gun. The technology's there. It's not hard to do. Your average 13-year-old can whip this stuff up in a heartbeat. And unfortunately, the powers that be on either side are oftentimes now happy to throw a match in a can of gasoline just to see the whole thing burn down.
You're right. Because of what's happening in Minneapolis, do you feel the need to spend more time on psychological things of like de-escalating and how important? For one thing, society has changed. There was a time when you approached the car on the driver's side. Now, for safety reasons, particularly on interstate roads or any of the highways for that matter, you now, I think, go to the passenger side, do you not? Or do you do both?
You see both. You
Okay.
do. Yeah. For me, I like the passenger side because I don't want to get hit by a semi. I mean, that's my worst fear is being on that interstate.
Or a crazy driver.
Yeah, crazy driver. So, yeah, you'll see it both ways out there still. There's plus and minus.
So are you thinking about spending more time on de-escalating procedures and techniques?
I think we do enough. I think like I said, we've really upped our game. I mean, what's going on up there, the good thing, we have such a good local structure for the most part, especially in law enforcement. When we had the Sonia Massey trial, our intel was could be some bad actors that showed up. There were supposed to be a lot more people that showed up. But because we had good relationships with our local people that were there, not protesting, just being there, I think, whatever you want to call them, we had zero issues. And some people are like, well, you guys had a ton of law enforcement. Well, I think that deterred some of the bad actors because we had intel that they were proud, some of them were going to show up. It's the ones that show up from out of town are the ones that create chaos. But
and that's what's happening in Minneapolis.
Yeah, but I promise you, if we would have had one or two, they would have been dealt with so quick and it would have just been done, right? But once you let two show up and get away with doing whatever they're doing, you're going to have 10, then 20, and that's what you're seeing. That Portland and Minneapolis are hot messes because they've just been hands off up there.
Yeah, that's really a shame, too. Do your deputy sheriffs, do they all have cameras?
Yep, we all have body cameras. We've had them for several years, and they help a ton. They help on both ways. When people know they're being recorded, they act better. Some don't, but most act better.
Yeah, most do.
And we learn it from training. Like if we think a deputy maybe mishandled something, I mean, we use them for training tools too. I mean, they've been very good, very good.
Right.
So what do you do at halftime? Call them in and look at the video and say, well, you did this right, you did that wrong. I'm being a little facetious, but I'm sure you, like you say, you do it for training. Hey, officer friendly, you weren't very friendly on this. Your approach was different and so forth. And they probably appreciate it.
Yeah, we don't micromanage them. We don't sit there and watch every body camera or anything like that. But if something comes up, and we address it. And if you address it, then it doesn't happen again. If you don't address it, then they think they can get away with it.
Yeah. Quick question. They have the ability to press a button to turn the camera on. It's not on all the time, is it?
So ours, if they turn their lights on in their squad car, it will turn on. If people are around them that turn theirs on, it will turn on. We even have holsters. Some of the guns, when they pull the gun out of the holster, it'll turn on.
Oh, really?
Because sometimes you don't have. Sorry, bad guy. Let me turn my camera on.
Yeah, just a minute. I got it.
Our policy, you're supposed to turn it on your way to your call, so you're not worrying about your camera while you're on call. There's sometimes errors. Obviously, the body camera's not working or whatever. There's always going to be those type of errors that happen. But we spend a lot of money on technology.
Yeah. Is it true that they automatically go off when you go into Dunkin' Donuts?
In the bathroom.
Well, that was my next question. I thought, no, you better not ask them. So let's visit Minneapolis a little bit more. What do you think they have done wrong? You alluded to the lack of cooperation, obviously.
Yeah, I don't know all that's going on out there. I see what you see, right? But the main thing is just the lack of leadership up there. I can tell you here, we're squared away, and I don't think you'll see that from us. I don't know. The feds are going to come in and do what the feds do. No one's going to stop them from doing that. But if you have relationships with them and you have relationships with the important people in your community, you can try to work through that when they do come. There's a lot of state laws that prevent us from doing certain things with the feds, which can be frustrating. But that's the world we live in. That's the state we live in. So, that's just what we have to deal with.
Yeah. How do you determine, we know that the county has a certain geographic responsibility and the city as well. How, when I first heard the report of the shooting on Harmon Highway and that your department investigated and so forth, I got to thinking, well, what part of Harmon Highway is city and what part is county? And how do you determine, well, that's our call versus the city's call?
The good thing is we have such a good relationship with them. The city showed up with us because the city and county line is Laramie, and that's where the stoplights road goes on right there. So anything west of there is the county.
It's the county's
responsibility. And then it gets real, go down Manual's all city. Laramie, the east side, the left side, if you're going down Laramie, is city. The right side mostly is county. But once again, we back each other up all the time.
Yeah, and vice versa, I would assume.
Yep.
But it does raise the question, it's almost like when they had, and I don't mean this in a negative way, when we had multiple ambulance companies, or towing companies, for that matter. What is it? Your department? Is your area? Is that your street? Is that a county street or city street?
Like on Laramie, if there's an accident on Laramie, sometimes they'll be like, "No, this is yours. No, this is yours."
Yeah,
we figure it out.
Yeah, yeah, you have a way to do that.
Coin.
Do you feel like part of the training involves the legal system as to what charges to place against someone, and do you still read Miranda rights and all that other legal stuff that you've been forced to utilize?
Yeah, I mean, that's where your baseline of the academy. You learn a lot of the legal laws because you really don't know a whole lot unless you have a criminal justice degree, and still you don't know a ton of the laws. So, I mean, that's where your baseline is at the academy. And then in field training, we do a lot of law review. And then when it comes to big investigations like murders and any felony investigation, a lot of times we will meet with the state's attorney and talk to them about the case and, hey, do we have enough for an arrest? What else would you like to see? And that's where just having a good relationship with the state's attorney's office helps quite a bit too. We're not attorneys. So.
No, but you almost have to be.
You have to know enough.
Yeah, so that you don't do something that because of what you did or failed to do winds up a very effective defense attorney like Kevin Sullivan, who says, wait a minute, you failed to do this or you didn't do this correctly.
And our deputies have to make, and officers have to make split-second decisions. So you have to know the law or you make the wrong decision, and then it could get you in trouble.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you ever get a call from an incident where the deputy sheriff calls you to say, hey, I have this issue or that issue. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, I mean, well, we have first-line supervisors. We have lieutenants.
They don't call you unless
they can. Have open door policy.
Yeah,
yeah, we encourage them to call their supervisors for that. But sometimes their supervisors, there's a lot of different issues that go on. Some of their supervisors could then call command and say, hey, we have this going on. We've never seen this before. Notification's always good. I want to be notified of everything because you don't want to get
Okay,
blindsided.
what's your phone number now? You say everything.
Yeah, that's where it's so important to have those really good first line supervisors too, because if you don't, they're giving them bad advice, and once again, that falls back on me.
Yeah. How'd you do in 2025? I know the city has released some numbers and statistics about a reduction in crime in this category and that category. How'd Peoria County do in 2025?
Yeah, I released some stats too. I looked at the bookings, which is every police department that books people into the jail, and some were down and some were. A lot of our property crime is still kind of climbing. Domestics are still increasing, no matter what. I mean, that's the.
Is that a serious category that needs attention? I don't know what you can do about it other than call in Judge Judy to handle some of your cases.
You know, you see violent crime going down, but domestics are going up. So, I mean, probably 30% of my bookings are domestics. So that's
wow, that's a large percentage.
It's a lot.
And the bad part of it is, it seems like domestic situations are now involving guns and weapons.
Yeah, I think at least not with this murder, we're still investigating, but the ones that passed, at least 5 of the 6 ones were domestic-related murders that we had. Because we don't have a ton of gang violence out in the county. That's the violence we see is a lot of domestic violence.
All right, let everybody know how they can, if they have an interest in law enforcement, how they can learn more from Peoria County Sheriff Chris Watkins.
Right now, we are still hiring for corrections. We have about 7 or 8 openings. So,
now, what does that mean?
Correctional officer. So, to be a correctional officer. So, we do have some openings for there. We've lost some of the correctional officers to being police officers, which I'm okay. I think it's a great start. That's how I started. Our application system right now is actually closed for deputies. We are, I think we're only down 1 deputy, but we already have 2 correctional officers we're looking at to fill that. So,
now, are you talking about correctional officers, jailers?
Yeah.
Is that the official title? Okay.
Yeah.
Working in the jail.
Yep.
Can be a real challenge.
It can be, but I think it's a great place to learn how to talk to people, especially when you're a 19, 20, 21-year-old. I think our population's very interesting in the jail, to say the least. So
that's one way.
You can learn how to talk to people. You'll never experience a group of people like that. So they try to manipulate you. They try to do everything. Yeah. So you can really learn a lot working in the jail. I think it's
are cameras on in the jail?
Yeah. Since I've been sheriff,
that's probably a good training vehicle.
Yeah, when I took over, there was no cameras in the pods. So, and that was partially because technology, when the jail was built, they're all brick walls. It's hard to get the cameras in those. So we've installed like 60 cameras. So now there's almost no dead spots in the jail. So that's helped a ton.
I don't know if I would use the word dead spots. Vacant maybe, but I would change my terminology there, Chris.
Yeah. I'm still learning.
I mean, a dead spot can turn into a dead spot.
Exactly.
Okay, I stand corrected. Yeah, I'm on it.
Rethink that one. Okay. And again, I know we talked about it the last time you were here. How'd you get interested? What's your background? I think you served in the military.
I did. Served in the military right when I was 18. When I was 16. My mom thought I was getting in a little bit of trouble, which I wasn't, but she thought I was, so I did a ride-along with one of our deputies.
Ooh, what a great idea.
Yeah, and once I did that, I loved it. He made a couple arrests. He helped a couple people. I mean, it was a busy shift, and I was like, this is pretty awesome, Wow. So I kind of already had that in my mind, but you can't be a police officer until you're 21 at the time, so, it's still that way. So I joined the military in the meantime.
What branch?
Air Force.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Where'd you serve?
The first 2 years I was Holloman Air Force Base in New Mexico, and then like we talked about last time I was here, I was in Lakenheath in England.
Yeah, that's exciting. Is there a number to call? Is there something that it can go online to apply?
Yep, our website. Just come there and we'll guide you. We have a text messaging system. As soon as we get your information, we can communicate with you through text, because that's what young people like to do is text. Yeah. So we'll guide you through the process.
It's obvious because of your personality and your demeanor. You enjoy what you're doing. You're glad you are where you are.
I love it. I'm only 43, so I plan on doing this for a while, as long as the Peoria County wants me. but I still love it. We have a great group, a great thing
Great
going
men
on
and
right now.
women
Yep.
serving for
Yep.
you. Chris Watkins, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Keep
Thanks
up
for
the
having
good work. You bet. We'll be back with more. You're having breakfast with Roger and friends on WAZU FM 90.7.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies, because when people don't have to worry about where their next meal is coming from, they can truly thrive, like Marta.
And now we'll hear from our class valedictorian, who with our hard work never ceases to amaze us. Please welcome Marta Moreno.
And Alex.
Hey, Alex, how did the interview go?
I did it! I got the job! I can't believe it!
I knew it. Let's meet up later to celebrate.
And Diego.
Mom! I got first place at the science fair with my volcano project.
That's amazing, sweetie. Congratulations.
Because when people are fed, futures are nourished, and everyone deserves to live a full life. Join the movement to end hunger at feedingamerica.org/actnow. feedingamerica.org/actnow. A public service announcement brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
It's the Animal Stories News Team Anchorman. Me, Uncle Lair, him, Little Tommy.
You know, Uncle Lair, I'm worried that a lot of people out there haven't made plans about how they're going to take care of their pets in case of a disaster or emergency and they have to evacuate.
I sense the caring and the genuine concern in your voice, Tommy.
Well, because those disasters have a way of sneaking up without any warning and unleashing devastating fury.
Oh, maybe a touch over dramatic, but well put.
And that's why you should make plans now, not someday. Someday could be too late.
Everything you need to know to handle the aforementioned situation is available online at ready.illinois.gov.
Where?
Ready.illinois.gov.
Yeah, sponsored by the Illinois Emergency Management Agency.
And aired in cooperation with the Illinois Broadcasters Association.
And this station.
Hey, weather-wise, it's still nippy, 8 degrees currently, cloudy and cold today, a high of 17. Have you ever had a desire, Mike Dentino or Terry, to be in law enforcement?
I mean, yeah, I think that was something at one point in my life I considered, but honest to God, I do not have the temperament for it.
Oh, I don't either. I would either be violent with somebody, and that'd really get me into trouble.
Yeah. Well,
I'm not a real people person, so that's why I stuck with the numbers in the
know,
background.
One of the things we could talk to, and we did a little bit with Chris Watkins, and we thank him again for being a part of our program this morning, is the national media supports, there's no question, the protesters and rioters. I wonder how many of the media, and that includes Jimmy Peoples or Pimples or whatever his name is, and the others on nighttime television could take the verbal abuse that ICE agents take. You know,
Right.
here you show a guy spitting at them, and the guy who was in the church was sticking his finger in the face of this little short, bald-headed guy. I have an affinity for bald-headed people, and I felt sorry for the guy. And he was a prisoner in his own church with this guy sticking his finger in his face. I don't know how the guy didn't, even though he was short and too old to take on this big guy. But first thing I probably would have done is hit him in the groin. I mean, seriously, I couldn't take what these agents are taking, and everybody in the national media, and even in the local media, with some of the comments made by the police chief. You can't do that. You've got to support the men and women in blue. Otherwise, we're going to have a society like they have in Cuba, or China.
Well, here's the thing, you know. Way back in the dark ages, when I was, when I actually had hair, you had the large anti-war protesters, okay, large groups of them, and you had Nixon's silent majority. You had a lot of angst between parents and their children over, whether the war should be supported or not. And, you know, people want to paint this out as, oh, it's just like then. Well, it's not. It really isn't. And what I would point to is, first of all, when you had the Kent State issue,
Right.
where, and I don't know, I don't remember, it was 4 or more students that were killed by National Guard. And first of all, you didn't have the violence on the part of the protesters that you have now. You also don't have the level of training and professionalism in the police forces and National Guard forces that you have now. I mean, a lot of lessons were learned at Kent State as to what to do and what not to do. But you've got a whole new situation, you know, of protesters now where they're overtly violent. They you know, in some of these cities, like in Portland and like in Minneapolis, the police have withdrawn. You have states like Illinois and California who explicitly have laws on their books that do not allow them to cooperate with federal law enforcement, which, in my mind, is the worst of all possible worlds. You know, the fact is that the Illinois in particular is blowing up the idea that, well, you know, we're not going to be the minions of the federal government hoovering up people, which is absolute crap, in my opinion, in my never to be humble opinion.
Well, you know, I like the word hoovering better than crap.
Yeah,
but,
well,
I still got the picture.
Yeah, and the thing of it is, you know, we're all supposed to be, you know, we'd like to have calmness. We'd like to have, you have the absolute right to protest. That is not in question in, I think, anyone's mind.
Correct.
But since when does, you know, attacking officers, since when is that
part of the
it was, since then it's a protected First Amendment right? It is not. Let's be clear about that. When you're interfering, whether it's a Peoria City of Peoria police, a Peoria County deputy, an FBI agent, or a DNR agent, when you interfere with their duties, you are not in a protected First Amendment situation. You are interfering with police. That is an arrestable offense, and you can and should be arrested.
Yep.
I mean, in Illinois now, it seems like every arrest is now a catch and release. Well, we'll just snatch them up. We'll take a few photographs, have a few fingerprints.
Slap them on the wrist and then send them on their way.
Yeah, you know, it's like, here, you have a donut when, you know, wait around for the fingerprints to dry and have a donut.
Well, thank you, I will.
Yeah, you know. But the fact is that we are not doing ourselves any favors on any level. You know, Pritzker's going to hurt himself patting himself on the back. I'm surprised he can reach around that far.
Well, he's working. He's been in training.
Well, he must be.
You know, we'll get into the news here in a way we are. I am surprised that Donald Trump did not implement the Insurrection Act, because what was going on in Minneapolis with the police sitting down and doing nothing,
right?
That's about as close to an insurrection as you can get, with leaders calling for taking films. And, you know, this pending legislation, one of the demands, as Ray LaHood pointed out earlier this morning at 6:30, is they talked about taking pictures of ICE agents.
Right,
and,
doxing them.
And one of the guys going on television, an elected official, saying, when this is all over, we're coming after you. We're going to get you. That is a threat, in my opinion. And I believe an ICE agent could actually hire an attorney like a Mike Antino and say, I'm going to sue you because you just threatened my life and my family and my children, and I'm not going to take it sitting down.
Right. Well, you know, here we are. We're in, you know, we're in the next stages of lawfare, where now, Illinois is, and some states have either passed or are passing statutes that will allow citizens to file lawsuits against ICE and other federal agents. We'll see how far that gets, because there are certain areas of law enforcement which are exclusively the purview of the feds, and some of these immigration cases go back to the 20s and 30s, some back even to the 1800s, because the laws have been fairly well settled on this area. Like the most recent immigration case that I'm aware of off the top of my head is a lawsuit where Arizona filed suit against the federal government to try to get their own authorization to pick up people who violated immigration statutes, and the Supreme Court said, no, you can't do that. This is not immigration is not a state function. So, and it's like some states have gone, oh, I'm going to take my marbles and go home then. Because like Minneapolis or Minnesota laws in Illinois, they have laws forbidding state and local police from assisting the INS, assisting federal officials in handing these people over. Illinois and California and Minnesota, from what I understand, they do not allow the INS to enter a federal detainer to have these people turned over when they're in jail on whatever charges they're being charged with, murder, rape, assault. No, they let them go, and now immigration has to go find them. Now, in what world does that make sense?
Not mine.
I'm all ears. I'm happy to have a discussion. I'm not going to call it an argument because, frankly, I'll tell you you're wrong, and I'll give you 15 different ways why you're wrong and how you have made that state, whether it's Illinois, California, or Minnesota, less safe because you turn these people loose. That doesn't make a lick of sense, and I'm happy to hear you tell me how it does.
All right.
I am often wrong on things, and I am willing to be educated on it. Please do, because I'm all ears.
I wouldn't say you're all ears.
Well, I'm more ears. I'm all head.
I mean,
I
wasn't going to say it, but you brought it up.
You're a gentleman.
Yes, thank you. Also, time for the news, I think.
A little.
And we'll start with a check of the weather this morning, and this morning it happens to be Thursday, January 29th on WAZU, FM 90.7 in Peoria, Illinois. Advanced Medical Transport of Central Illinois, serving the people of our area with paramedics and EMTs with the best of emergency care, and saving lives is what they do, and they're good at it and have been for decades. Weather-wise, mostly cloudy and cold today. A high of 17. Wind chill values could reach 2 below. Tonight, partly cloudy, a high of 1. Tomorrow, mostly sunny and cold, a high of 16. Tomorrow night, cloudy and cold, a low around 5 degrees. Saturday, warming up, if you can call 21 warming up, but it's better than 16. It'll be sunny on Saturday. Sunday, we're going to reach 26. And by the way, there is a chance for snow Sunday night. Otherwise, Monday, sunny and a pleasant 33 degrees, and we are still stuck at 8 degrees. Now we have the news with Mike and Terry. Good morning to both of you.
Thank you, Roger. Well, a shooting early yesterday morning in the 3400 block of Harmon Highway has left one man dead and a woman hospitalized with bullet wounds to her leg. Peoria County coroner identified the fatal victim as 44-year-old DeVille Wilder. Peoria County deputies were called to a house around 3 in the morning where they found Wilder critically wounded from multiple gunshot wounds. He was rushed to St. Francis Hospital where he was pronounced dead.
31-year-old Carl Rogers has been found guilty of the charge of aggravated battery in connection with the beating of a 5-year-old boy in April of 2024. The youngster suffered a traumatic brain injury but did recover and even testified at the bench trial of Rogers, who will be sentenced by Judge Sean Donahue April 8th.
New video has been released showing a violent and angry Alex Preddy attacking ICE agents in Minneapolis, contradicting earlier accounts by the national media. Preddy, who was shot and killed while resisting agents in a physical confrontation prior to the scuffle, the heavily armed Preddy was seen spinning at agents and then kicking and damaging the government vehicle. Investigations are underway.
Meanwhile, another judge has issued a restraining order against ICE agents in Minnesota. Federal Judge Patrick Schultz slammed agents, claiming they had violated 96 of the court's orders. Schultz refers to lawsuits filed by 74 illegal immigrants who have loaded Minnesota courtrooms in an attempt to avoid being sent back to their mother countries. No word on who's paying for their lawyers.
That deadly substance sprayed on leftist Congresswoman Ilhan Omar turned out to be apple cider vinegar. Police arrested a 55-year-old man who squirted Omar as she was calling for the resignation of the 54-year-old Kristi Noem as Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. Omar says if she doesn't resign, she'll be impeached. You'll recall Democrats also called for the impeachment of Pete Hegseth and before that, Donald Trump.
The Department of Homeland Security says it has deported nearly 3 million illegal aliens since Donald Trump took office. Under the Biden administration, more than 11 million entered the country illegally.
President Trump's plan to create the Trump accounts, providing $1,000 for every U.S. citizen born between January 1st, 2025 and December 31st, 2028, is receiving a lot of support. Steak and Shake has pledged $1,000 for each child, and so has Bank of America. Musician Nicki Minaj pledged between $150,000 and $300,000. Some analysts say a newborn enrolled by parents could be worth $2.7 million by age 55. And that's it for top of the hour news, Roger.
Who is this? I saw the video of it. Who is this Nicki? How do you pronounce
Nicki
it?
Minaj.
Minaj. Who is she?
She's
a
rapper.
Singer?
A performer, yeah.
A singer.
She had on a coat that made her look like the Goodyear blimp. I mean, it was a huge coat, and or is she that? Is she extra large?
No, it was the coat.
She's a small lady, but I think she leans towards fairly theatrical dress. Big. I'm not sure if it was fur
she did,
or
the puffy coats.
the puffy coats. Yeah.
Well, it was puffy.
Yeah, it was.
Well, this guy
not as in Sean Puffy
No,
Combs.
it was poofy.
But poofy, yeah.
Poofy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Remember the Seinfeld, the poofy shirt?
The poofy shirt. Oh, God, yeah. The pirate shirt. The poofy pirate shirt.
The poofy pirate shirt, yes.
Kathy's dog every now and then leaves some poofy in my house.
No, that's different.
A different
That's
kind
different.
of poofy. Okay.
Yeah.
It still smells. But at any rate, speaking of Kathy, Realtor Kathy Reynolds of Home Smart, available today to start the process of helping you look for your next home. You can reach her at 309-696-2162, and she brings you WCBU News.
From the WCBU Newsroom, I'm Courtney Conroy. Plans to transform a vacant property on Peoria's south side into a mental health services and workforce programming facility for parolees will move forward. Grow Community will turn the empty building on Southwest Adams Street into a 12-bedroom transitional residence for formerly incarcerated men. CEO Aaron Mallory stresses the term halfway house does not accurately describe how the facility will operate.
When we think about a halfway house, that's individuals being released from prison and being directly sent to a location or a space. This is an opportunity, one, for individuals to get treatment, to get support, and to build workforce development skills.
The council narrowly approved the project on a 6-5 vote. Peoria's mayor and police chief say local law enforcement officers are prohibited by state law from assisting federal immigration enforcement. Police Chief Eric Echevarria says the department pledges to not allow violence in the wake of the recent deadly turmoil in Minneapolis.
The current state of ICE is a danger to communities. So I'll say that publicly. You know, the impact of unchecked power is just devastating.
Mayor Rita Ali also affirmed the city's obligation to abide by the state's Trust Act that prohibits local police from conducting immigration enforcement. Central Illinois lawmakers say they are looking to help farmers as they face financial troubles because of tariffs, inflations, and increased competition from South America. Democratic State Senator Dave Kaler says he plans to push a bill to raise the exemption on the estate tax to support family farms.
I don't know what that means for any of our programs, but because we're going to have to cut somewhere. But this is an important one if we want to preserve the character of family farms in Illinois.
Kaler says there are still concerns about passing the bill because of a tight budget this year. And the Illinois-based American Academy of Pediatrics has released its annual childhood and adolescent vaccine schedule. It's a departure from federal guidelines, which saw cuts to the number of recommended vaccines for kids earlier this month. The vaccines in dispute include those for rotavirus, COVID-19, influenza, and hepatitis. I'm Courtney Conroy.
Well, boys and girls, Dr. Gene Sidler is enjoying winter weather in Florida, and we have, a balmy 8 degrees here. And so I'm sitting in for Dr. Sidler this morning, and my sports report highlights the coming game between Bradley and the Drake Bulldogs in Des Moines. It's this Saturday late in the afternoon, tip-off time, 5 p.m., unusual start time, but that has to do with television, I'm sure. I think ESPN will be covering that. We'll find out for sure. Bradley has a record of 14 wins, 8 losses. They're tied with the University of Illinois Chicago, UIC, for third place behind league leaders Belmont and Murray State. Drake is 6-5 in the Valley and in 7th place. But all bets are off. That will be a tough game for Bradley to win. But you can get the latest on Bradley and Bradley basketball at bradleyfans.com. Well, let's turn to college basketball action last night. Iowa defeated the University of Southern Cal 73-72. Belmont of the Missouri Valley slipped past Valpo 78-77. Doggone it, was hoping Valpo would win that. But we rooted for Illinois State, and for a good reason, they defeated Murray State 70-65. Drake, who Bradley faces soon, as we pointed out on Saturday, beat Evansville 82-78. And another Valley action, Southern Illinois, in a surprise, beat up on Northern Iowa 65-50. And in the Big Ten, it was Wisconsin 67, Minnesota 63. Outside of the Big Ten, elsewhere, it was Tennessee nipping Georgia, a final score 86-85, and that's what we have in sports this morning. Thank you very much. Well, if you just joined us, we've been talking a little bit, and then a lot of bit, about what's going on in Minnesota. And now we have the Peoria Police Chief and the Mayor of the City of Peoria weighing in. And just a little reminder, according to Kevin Sullivan and other legal authorities, local law does not, or state law, usurp federal law. And if you don't understand that, Mr. Police Chief and the Mayor, check with your legal department and get the straight scoop on it. Anyway, any final thoughts or other reaction, Mr. Attorney?
I think I'm kind of reacted out at the moment. I'm just
okay.
going to have to wait till I recharge a bit. Maybe another donut.
All right. While you're recharging, a little earlier, I mentioned, I can't remember what I mentioned on the air or off the air, but I have a grandson living just outside of Dallas, and he said these people just don't understand cold weather. Schools have been closed because the temperatures have been in the 40s, and he said that sometimes it's gotten lower, and they've had some ice problems, and they have no trucks, they have no chemicals to work on the streets like we do in Peoria, and they just wait until, I guess, everything shuts down. Stores actually close.
Yeah.
And shopping centers, they go into hibernation like bears do in winter, or bees.
Yes, indeed. Well, it's one of these things where down south, when the weather goes below the frost warning, it's pandemonium. I mean, you have the Reverend's wife, fighting with their next door neighbor over the last loaf of bread at the Piggly Wiggly. It's just kind of it's curious because that sound they heard was like, what the hell was that? Oh, that's the furnace kicking on. We have a furnace?
Yeah, we have a furnace.
What's a furnace?
What's that?
Oh my God! It's not good. It's not good. I have a number of friends. We still own a place down in North Carolina. We have friends down there that it really doesn't snow very often, but there are fairly more frequent ice storms down there than there are here. It's that narrow little band of just right conditions where you have ice storms. You have several ice storms a year, and the intelligent people just sit. They don't go anywhere because there are frequent. When we were living in Raleigh, I had more power outages there than anywhere else I've ever lived.
Really, in Raleigh?
Yeah, because the ice collects on the power lines, and they just
they snap.
If they snap, or the trees fill with ice, and they snap and knock over the power line. So if you're smart, you just kind of, you have books because books don't need power.
And you have candles and flashlights.
It's. I tell you what, it does lead to those moments of those old-fashioned moments where it's like, oh, my computer doesn't work, the TV's not on, they don't even have radio. Oh my God! It's like just get a book. You just turn the pages.
What's the difference in weather between North and South Carolina? Who has the better, milder weather, North or South?
I think South Carolina has the milder weather, just because by virtue of being another 150 miles further south.
Okay.
But again, that little area, that South Atlantic seaboard there, is a place where you get a lot of ice.
Still get ice, right?
And they call South Carolina is referred to as the Low Country because North Carolina actually has mountains.
North Carolina, but not South Carolina. Does
not so much. There are hills, but South Carolina is where you start to get into alligator country.
The bayous.
Well,
that's part of Louisiana.
Cypress swamps.
Cypress swamps, yeah.
But it's a lovely, lovely area. But
you lived there for a while, didn't you?
Oh, North Carolina.
Yeah. How long did you live there, and
5
why?
My wife got transferred there. From
Caterpillar is in North Carolina.
Oh yeah. All the little Caterpillar Bobcat type of equipment. They make all that down in South Carolina, North Carolina.
Had no idea.
Oh yeah, it's Cat. A while back, years ago, they started locating in right-to-work states like North Carolina, where unions aren't nearly as prevalent as they are here.
Interesting.
But I adore North Carolina. It's a lovely, lovely area.
What are the average temperature during the summer months? And is it low humidity typically?
It depends, but it lower. It's lower humidity than here, which is like anywhere.
Well,
anywhere else.
That's like saying we have lower humidity than St. Louis.
Well, yeah.
Or is it the other way?
It's like saying we have both kinds of music in this restaurant, country and
Western,
Western. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no,
they do make
it's
it. So it sounded like you enjoyed living in North
Oh,
Carolina.
I did. I did. I mean, I didn't realize my wife had planned it because, you know, when we
Shame on her.
Well, we went to Raleigh, and I'm like, oh, this is a nice place, and then I realized, wait a minute, there are how many college teams located within half an hour of here?
It is
UNC,
amazing, isn't it?
NC State,
Wake Forest.
Wake Forest. Yeah, it's like, wait a minute, how much farther down the list of ACC teams am I going to go before I realized, oh, they're all here?
Yeah, and by the way, I've seen a few of them. The campuses are beautiful.
Oh, you know, there's really almost nothing in the Carolinas that's not within driving range of there. I mean, speaking of driving ranges, it's like, wait a minute, how far are we from this golf course and that golf? Oh, we're living in a golf course.
Yeah.
Oh, right, Pinehurst. Oh, yeah, it's like 45 minutes away. It's like, oh, okay. So, you know, the two things in life that I really, not that I don't like it, that I really don't care about at all is golf and basketball. I mean, okay, I can ride 10 months of the year on my motorcycle. Okay, that'll work.
That's okay.
That'll work.
Yeah.
That'll work.
You know, interesting. We went with another couple that arranged. What these developers used to do is give you a 3-day weekend free to spend at a area that's under development with condos, et cetera, and so forth. And it was pretty neat. But at the end, you got to listen to a sales presentation, and they really put the full court press on you. But I do remember, and I think it was in South Carolina. It was beautiful, by the way. I was tempted. And the only thing that prevented me from doing it was money, and that's an important ingredient for purchasing. What are they?
Timeshare.
The timeshare.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Yeah, and any rate. I looked out on a Saturday morning, and they had a nice swampy area, and I saw a guy fishing. Now, right away, I love to fish, and I thought, oh, boy, this is getting a little more tempting to participate. Well, we went to lunch or breakfast, and the server was very pleasant, good personality, and so forth. And I said, can you tell me what kind of fish are out there in the water area? And she said, why do you want to know? And I said, well, I'd like to fish it. You can't fish because there's alligators. It's a dangerous area. I said, you need to tell that guy that I saw, probably from Illinois or Iowa, out there fishing. And she said, really? And I said, yeah. She said, I'll be right back. And so she immediately left, apparently got on the phone and came back and did say, that's a dangerous area, and you can lose your life fishing where there are alligators, and suddenly you become bait instead of you fishing with bait, type of thing. So are they alligators kind of prevalent in more South Carolina
more
than
South
North?
Carolina than North? Yeah. It's funny that you talk about timeshares like that. We my dad was always one for, well, get a free vacation out of it, that'd be great. And we went on a quote free vacation in Arkansas.
In Arkansas,
place called Cherokee Village.
I remember. I got invitation to that too, and thought about taking advantage of it.
Dad decided he was going to take us on a vacation to Cherokee Village. You know, I know all about these scams, but I am a salesman. I am a marketing guy. I know all about this stuff. You can't pull one over on me. I know every trick. And so we went down there for one of these fancy weekends for free. And it was quite nice.
Oh, they are nice. They roll out the red carpet for you.
We had a lot of fun. I mean, we had, what was it, 8 of us at the time. We were too short.
And you were all there?
We were all there. Yeah, all went down on this free vacation. And I know, they're not going to pull the wool over my eyes. Before we left, my dad bought a lot in Cherokee Village. I'm like, okay, Dad. So I guess we weren't so slick, were you? Oh, well, it turns out it was a great deal, and I
Couldn't turn it down.
I couldn't turn it down. And we'll come down. I mean, we can get these free timeshare things, and I know I never went on another vacation to Cherokee Village. I don't know if they ever went down again either, but
Well,
it's just these timeshares they're very crafty guys. I
Yes,
guess.
yes, they are. The experience going back to when we went with another couple, me and it was dear friend Chuck Bly and his wife Carol, and we kind of plotted our strategy for saying no. And I wound up going into Nancy and I into a room with a salesperson, and Chuck and his wife went in a different room with a different side. I was successful in defending. I said, my dad told me never to buy anything until I've had time to sleep on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll sleep on it and let you know. And of course, we were leaving the next day. And he said, our experience has been for people who don't take advantage of it is they usually say no. I said, well, I don't want to ruin your winning streak or your losing streak. So I said no and left and waited for Chuck and his wife to come out. Waited and waited and waited. Finally, she came out and she said, guess what? And I said, what? She said, he's buying one. And I'm glad he did because they have a deal where you can select from other locations that they own.
Right.
And we went to Canada on one of them with Chuck and Carol, and I congratulated him on buying it. I thought that was a great idea. What's our next trip going to be?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, buying a timeshare is, in a lot of respects, not unlike buying a boat. You're always much better off knowing someone who's got one that brings you along than it is buying
Being the owner.
Yeah.
You know, that's right, and that's well said because it worked out real well. They also had an opportunity to go to Hawaii, but unfortunately they gave it to one of their kids. How thoughtless of him, and not to think of
scoundrel.
My wife and I. Well, let's give our final newscast of the morning. And we'll start with news headlines. And Mike, what do you have?
Well, Roger, a shooting early yesterday morning in the 3400 block of Harmon Highway has left a man dead and a woman hospitalized with a bullet wound to the leg. Peoria County coroner identified the fatal victim as 44-year-old DeVille Wilder. Peoria County deputies were called to a house around 3 in the morning where they found Wilder critically wounded from multiple gunshot wounds. He was rushed to St. Francis Hospital. However, he was pronounced dead on arrival. 31-year-old Carl Rogers has been found guilty of a charge of aggravated battery in connection with the beating of a 5-year-old boy in April of 2024. The youngster suffered a traumatic brain injury, but did recover and even testified at the bench trial of Rogers, who will be sentenced by Judge Sean Donahue on April 8th. A new video has been released showing a violent and angry Alex Preddy attacking ICE agents in Minneapolis, contradicting earlier accounts by the national media. Preddy, who was shot and killed while resisting agents in a physical confrontation. Prior to the scuffle, the heavily armed Preddy can be seen spitting at agents and then kicking and damaging the government vehicle. Another judge has issued a restraining order against ICE agents in Minnesota. Federal Judge Patrick Schultz slammed agents, claiming that they had violated 96 of the court's orders. Schultz referred to lawsuits filed by 74 illegal immigrants who've loaded Minnesota courtrooms in an attempt to avoid being sent back to their mother countries. That deadly substance sprayed on leftist Congresswoman Ilhan Omar turned out to be apple cider vinegar. Police arrested a 55-year-old man who squirted Omar as she was calling for the resignation of the 54-year-old Kristi Noem as Secretary of Department of Homeland Security. Omar says if she doesn't resign, she'll be impeached. The Department of Homeland Security says it has deported nearly 3 million illegal aliens, since Donald Trump took office. Under the Biden administration, more than 11 million entered the country illegally. President Trump's plan to create the Trump accounts, providing $1,000 for every U.S. citizen born between January 1st, 2025 and December 31st, 2028, is receiving a lot of support. Steak and Shake has pledged $1,000 for each child, and so has Bank of America. Musician Nicki Minaj pledged between $150,000 and $300,000. Some analysts say a newborn enrolled by parents could be worth up to $2.7 million by age 55. And Roger, that's it for news at the bottom of the hour.
All right, thank you, Kyle. Now a check of the weather brought to you by our friends at Spoon River Home Health Services. And we all know you can recover faster at home, particularly if you utilize the great personnel at Spoon River, nurses, therapists, and personal care personnel. They are just outstanding people who've been around since the early 1990s. And they're available right now. For more information at 309-245-0723. Cloudy and cold today, a high of 17, wind chill values around right now 1 degree. Tonight, partly cloudy, a low of 1 above. And that's tonight. Tomorrow, mostly sunny and cold, a high 16. Tomorrow night, cloudy and cold, and the low 5. And Saturday, warming up to 21 under sunny skies. And Sunday, we'll get up to 26, but there is a chance for snow Sunday night. And we hope we don't need to see snow anymore. Monday, sunny and 33. That's the first day where we're finally going to get above freezing. What do you have? Currently, 9 degrees.
Well, it came across my social media. It's an Illinois poem written by an Illinois resident. I will read it to you. It's very short.
All right, you need any music to set the mood? Okay, all right.
It's winter in Illinois, and the gentle breezes blow 70 miles an hour at 35 below. Oh, how I love Illinois. When the snow's up to your butt, you take a breath of winter air, and your nose gets frozen shut. Yes, the weather here is wonderful, so I guess I'll hang around. I could never leave Illinois, 'cause I'm frozen to the ground.
Oh.
Boy, does that sound what we've had this last week?
You know what? That's absolutely wonderful. What do you think, Fred?
I'm glad we had this talk.
I am too. I thought it was absolutely wonderful. Here's our pet tip of the day, boys and girls.
Today's pet tip is brought to you by Peoria Pet Crematory of Peoria and Lewiston, providing final care for family pets, large and small, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their phone number is 713-1898. That's 713-1898. More information is available at peoriapetcrematory.com.
Pet lovers are dedicated to their animals, all species from horses to turtles and of course cats and dogs. If you are a pet lover, learn these little known, somewhat amazing facts about your pet. When you find a badly dehydrated kitten or puppy, the first thing you must do is replace the lost electrolytes the same as in a human baby. Clear Pedialyte will work well. Take a small syringe without a needle and holding the kitten in a sitting position, push the syringe into its mouth and slowly give the unflavored Pedialyte. Be careful he doesn't choke or aspirate the fluid into his lungs. Depending on how dehydrated the kitten is, you can give 12 cc's every hour, but hopefully you can get him to a vet sooner. It's also a safe bet the kitten has not eaten and is in need of nourishment. Kitten Milk Replacer, KMR, can be purchased in powder form at any pet or farm store. Mix the KMR with the Pedialyte and using the syringe, give the mixture in the same manner. This can help the animal greatly and buy you the time you need to get the kitten to the vet or rescue. My sister did not know about these precious tips, and time was lost for the kitten she tried to save. Now she has learned some valuable tips. Remember, keep Pedialyte on hand, always have kitten milk replacer, and then you can help any ailing animal while you're on the way to the vet. This whisker of information has been made possible by a grant from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting in partnership with Spot, Saving Pets One at a Time, and KSVR Studios. Produced by Joseph C. McGuire and theme music by Stuardo Glasser.
Today's Pet Tip has been brought to you by Peoria Pet Crematory of Peoria and Lewiston, providing final care for family pets, large and small, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their phone number is 713-1898. That's 713-1898. More information is available at peoriapetcrematory.com.
Hey, we have 9 degrees. High today, 17, so we're on the way up. You know, Mike, it sounds like you've been all over the place. You've been 5 years in China, 5 years in North Carolina. Where all did Caterpillar send you and or your wife? And did you always, were you a tag team, so to speak, wherever she went, you also went, or vice versa?
Pretty much. I mean, you know, wherever my wife was, I was the spouse that I was the one spouse that showed up at all the parties.
Oh.
For better or for worse. No, and we were my wife went to work for Caterpillar after she'd been practicing in Chicago as an attorney for, I think, 15 years or so. And
where is she from originally?
Western Springs, one of the southwest suburbs of Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's where she grew up. And then we both practiced law in downtown Chicago for close to 15 years.
Really? Where did you live? Were you commuting from Western Springs?
No, we lived in Chicago proper on the
really?
west side.
Really? In an apartment?
We had a little house.
Really? I didn't think there were houses in Chicago.
There's, I mean, that's one of the wonderful things about Chicago. It's a city of neighborhoods. People tend to identify themselves one or two ways. They either, you know, you're either in a parish, you know, one of the parishes, or you're in a like next to a small park. So you could identify where we lived either by saying we lived just west of St. Ben's Parish, or we lived in Old Irving Park.
Okay.
But it's the northwest side, kind of. We're very close to where the Edens and the Kennedy Expressway split.
Now I'm going to guess you didn't have a lawn.
Well, I had a lawn that was small enough to where mowing it was easily accomplished by one of the old-fashioned push mowers, yeah.
That's a small yard.
That's a small yard. Yeah.
See,
did you fertilize it? Did your wife plant flowers and all that sort of thing?
When we bought this place, it was we bought it from a older Ukrainian woman who had raised a family in there. They'd been living there about 35 years or so, and the backyard was choked with mint plants, and just enough lawn for me to cut in about 15 minutes. So
can't beat that.
See, we had a large lot for Chicago, because your standard Chicago lot is 25 feet wide and 125 feet long, and our lot was 29 feet wide. So I felt like a rancher.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're living high on the hog.
But, we moved from there to Peoria first. We spent about 4 years in Peoria. Then we got transferred to Raleigh, North Carolina. We spent 5 years there. Then we spent 4.5, 5 years in China, and then we moved back to Peoria after we came back from China. So we bounced around a little bit. It was wonderful. I mean, I think the kids were they benefited from having really wonderful schools everywhere we went. You know, from there, it was everyone's kind of off on their own thing now. We've got one kid that still lives at home. We got one kid that's living in Palo Alto, California, and the oldest is in Connecticut. So.
How do you go?
Nice round of visiting you can do.
Yeah, I mean, it's like wherever we go to see people, it's like, where are we driving now? Good God.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's as much as I would love to see the youngest on his own somewhere. It's kind of handy because we just leave him at home with the dogs and.
No, you got a veterinarian to.
A veterinarian house sitter.
Exactly right.
So yeah.
And fee is pretty. Well, I was going to say reasonable. Then again, maybe it is.
It depends.
Yeah. It depends which formula you have. You know, you had mentioned 5 years in China, 5 years in Raleigh. Is that typical, the tenure of one location over the next one?
It's not unusual. I mean, it follows the same basic pattern that I had growing up with my family, with my dad, because we spent, but it was a little shorter, anywhere from 3 to 5 years in a spot before they'd, uproot you and send you down the road to the next, pumpkin patch. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people working for Caterpillar, it seemed like the deal was if you want to advance in your position at Caterpillar, you did that by moving to a new location. And I mean, what some of the people that we worked with, I should say my wife worked with at Caterpillar, they lived all over. I mean, they lived in Geneva, they lived in South Africa, they lived in Brazil. Caterpillar employees get moved around a lot. Some, I guess. But the areas that they went to were just amazing. You know, a friend of ours, they spent time in Brazil. They loved it. The ones that went to South Africa, I kind of got the impression South Africa was a kind of a dangerous place, but it must not have been that dangerous because they lived there and they enjoyed it, and they had no big issues that didn't seem to be easy to overcome. A lot of Caterpillar employees lived in Europe, Switzerland, Italy, France, England.
That would be wonderful.
Oh yeah, I mean Caterpillar has an awful lot of. I mean, it's an international company, and there are people all over the place. It kind of depends on what your specialties are and what your interests are. I mean, of course, being multilingual is a huge plus. If you're not multilingual when you start, you're probably going to be multilingual when you end. Personally, my attempt at learning Mandarin. Well, I don't think the phrase utter failure oversells it. I tried. Lord knows I tried.
Well, that's all that counts.
I took Mandarin lessons with one of the other Caterpillar wives, and I'm just an idiot. She developed this beautiful Mandarin ability. I mean, in fact, it was I couldn't be more envious. I was green with envy. But they ended up actually adopting a Chinese baby while they were there. So, I mean, there was, maybe she had more incentive than I. Actually, she's probably more intelligent than I was. But she certainly had a talent for languages, because Mandarin is not an easy language to learn.
It can't, like, one word have almost 3 meanings, just depend on how you pronounce it.
I think ma has 5 different, well, actually 6 different meanings, because there's a different meaning depending on which of the 5 tones you use. Plus, if you use it at the end of a sentence, it makes the sentence a question. So I was like, oh, wait a minute, which mom I hear? That was my problem. I could hear the words, the syllables, as it were, but I was so busy listening to that, I always missed which tone it was. So I was, wait, okay, wait a minute, was that 3rd tone, 2nd tone? No, I think it was 3rd tone. No, but that doesn't make sense. And was it into the sentence? Oh, that's why I don't understand. Okay, can you say that again?
Yeah.
I'd say write it down. It's like, oh no, that's even worse.
You probably had this experience as well. The year and a half I spent in Germany, I tried to learn a little German, enough to get by and maybe communicate, particularly when you're asking for directions, which I did frequently for that matter. But one of the things I learned, not only from German, but from people I knew in Germany, but had a similar experience in Norway. If you try their language, they will bend over backwards to help you.
The only exception I found to that rule was in France.
Well,
and in France, it's like, if you don't speak it perfectly, you're ruining my language.
Yeah. I said when I was in Paris, I'd met a young lady, and I got acquainted with her, and I finally said to her, when I felt comfortable to being blunt with her, I said, why is it the French people are so rude to Americans? She said, don't take it personally. We're even rude to each other.
Well, yeah. I think.
But when you got outside of Paris, just like a lot of people maintain the same way in this country, you get in the rural area, there's a different attitude. Particular, I'm told, to people who visit Normandy, that those people just bend over backwards with gratitude to Americans.
I think there are definitely pockets. Like what I found in China is that China was actually very easy to navigate for the most part, because there were so many people that did have either a working knowledge of English or enough to get you by. And they really were. If you even attempted to speak Mandarin, they moved heaven and earth to try to figure out what
you were trying to say.
And what I found, I could navigate through most of China with a phone that had a calculator on it. If I was trying to buy something or find directions, a smartphone was invaluable. I mean, it tended to bridge most gaps. And they were, the Chinese people I just thought were wonderful overall, because they were, in some respects, if you were in a very rural area, they were very curious about you. And, if you're trying to figure out a price or buy something, hey, a calculator was the universal translator. Once you learned a few basics like Taiguela, which is, that's too much, or, Buhao, it's like, no, that's no good. It was a lot of fun. I mean, it was really very little offense taken, as long as you weren't trying to be offensive. I found that a number of things can be overcome just by being, looking happy, smiling, and being stupid.
Which came easy for me in Germany.
That was a natural.
Speaking of Germany, this day in history, January 29th, 1886, what happened that gained worldwide attention?
What was the year again?
1886.
1886. Whew. Well,
it was in Germany?
It was in Germany.
Okay.
Mr. Benz was probably fooling around with cars at that point.
You're exactly right. Well said. What was Mr. Benz's first name?
Carl.
Mercedes?
Carl is, Carl is right. Carl Benz, applied for a patent for the first automobile. So did that 1886 beat Charles Duryea or anyone in this country?
I think it did.
Well, he was, what was his occupation?
Well, most of these guys were bicycle makers. I don't know. I don't know if you made bicycles.
He was a kind of an engineer.
Okay.
So
A mechanical
yes,
engineer.
Mechanical engineer, applied for a German patent for a vehicle designed to be propelled by a motor. And how many wheels did it have?
It had 3 wheels.
That's right, 3-wheeled. And what did they call it in German? It was called a Motorwagen.
Motorwagen?
Yeah. I'll tell you, I thought it was a cute story. I dated a German girl, and the housing for the American Forces Radio Network headquarters was in a German castle in the suburb of Frankfurt called Herx. And the castle was a von Bruni Schloss. And she was a resident of the area and never been in the castle, so I was really impressing her and was showing her around. And at a certain point when nobody was around, I reached over to kiss her. And she said, Später, Roger, called me Roger rather than Roger, Später, Roger in Wagen. Can you translate that?
Later in the car?
Yes.
Well, there you go.
So I'm familiar with the word wagon. And so we went to the wagon. But anyway, for years, Benz had been working on engine development to pursue his vision of a vehicle without horses. Benz designed and developed the world's first automobile powered by an internal combustion engine, an engine that creates power by burning a fuel with air inside it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I guess it
yeah.
does. The vehicle was introduced to the public July 1886. By 1893, Benz had developed how many wheels now?
4.
4-wheeled version of the vehicle. Benz had founded Benz & Company in 1883, a company intended to produce stationary internal combustion engines that later expanded to automobile manufacturing. In 1899, the company began creating racing vehicles, and by 1900, it was the world's largest car manufacturer.
I tell you, it didn't take Min very long. I think it was probably about the time they invented the second automobile that the automobile race was developed, because my automobile's faster than your piece of junk. Junk? Mine's not junk. Yours is junk.
Well, look back. I mean, the chariot race has been her. I mean,
well, yeah.
As long as you've got two individuals and a vehicle, they're going to race something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Didn't they have a big racing event between Ben-Hur and Ben Gay?
Well, I was going to say the Ben Gay, I think, was more popular after the race.
After the race.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that was bad, Roger. Well, at any rate, that should do it, ladies and gentlemen. And the bees are under
the bees are
concerned.
Yeah, they're in their long winter's nap, or at least they're huddling around, whatever's they're creating heat with, rubbing their little wings together. Yeah. But we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see if they survive this cold snap.
Are you going to have a bumper crop, if you pardon the expression, next summer?
I'm hoping. I mean, this is my first year experimenting with bees, so.
Well, be honest.
Well, that's what the bees tell me.
All right, have a great day, everybody. Stay warm. Thank you, Mike Dentino. Appreciate it.
Always
Terry,
a pleasure.
we'll see you tomorrow. Remember, God loves you, and so do we. So long, everyone.
You don't know how many times I wish that I had told you. You don't know how many times I wish that I could hold you. You don't know how many times I wish that I could mold you into someone who would cherish me as much as I cherish you. Perish precious word that more than a heart. To the hope in my heart each time I realize that I am not gonna be the one to share your dreams, that I am not gonna be the one to share your schemes, that I am not gonna be the one to share what seems to be the life that you can cherish as much as I do yours. For I'm beginning to think that man has never found the words that can make you want me, that have the right amount of letters, just the right sound.